there. Welcome to Booze, Boobs, and Blood podcast. I'm Ween.
And I'm Ray. And we're here tonight to talk to you about Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 by the fantastic John Carpenter.
Oh, Deborah Hill production.
Shirt!
Yes!
Got my old Deborah Hill production shirt.
You do, and I love that shirt, and I kind of want one too.
Well,
like immediately.
Maybe for Christmas, maybe for Halloween this.
Halloween. Where was the Homestar Runner? Not sponsored. A December wing. Maybe for thanks December wing.
Because they all come together. Yeah. That's what she said.
That's what I think.
So, Ween.
Yo, Ray.
Why are we doing this?
I don't know. There. Oh, that is one of my favorite noises by the PS. I know it might be like an ASMR thing, but I just love this. So a lot of people like that sound of the.
Well, listen, no, we're having a fucking good time. That's what's happening.
It's kind of like that. or like the Friday the 13th.
Yes, we learned. Well, I mean, we knew that, but we learned from the man who did it.
We learned some things last night. Hi, I'm Ween.
Yes.
And Ray and I have known each other for well over a decade.
Oh my god. We're talking 20 years, girlfriend.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. 20.
Oh my god. It has been. No, I think it's been.
It's been longer than that. It's been over 20 years.
I don't want to think about it. Cheers.
Yeah.
Over the years, that we've, kind of on and off kept in touch, one of the big things we bonded over are horror movies, oddly enough.
Yeah.
It's oddly, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not this one thing that you're like... It's kind of like... So, those who know me might know me from my other podcast. And...
Chicklet Book Club
podcast. And it's kind of the same way where you like, hey, I like romance novels. I like romance novels, too. This is what? Yeah, I like horror movies. I like horror movies, too.
I love.
Yeah. So
I have actual legitimate arguments about a horror flick I see once.
Yeah, I mean, how often...
It's amazing the deep conversations you get into.
I think in pulp culture zeitgeist in general, though, too, like, as anybody, again, who listens to the podcast knows that I'm fucking obsessed with Ted Lasso. And there's some times where I'm like, I need to talk to somebody about this. I need to just have a verbal discussion with somebody about this issue. And, yeah.
I didn't really get into horror movies until much later, until like late high school, early college age, because I would watch it with another friend. And, we lived together and we, were oddly into it. And I was such a scaredy cat because I was totally sheltered from all that. And so much so that the Thriller video from Michael Jackson, when I finally watched it its 13-minute entirety, gave me nightmares for like a week. A week for a 13-minute film.
No, I mean, I'll date myself and say when I remember I first saw Gremlins, and I was so fucking scared, so scared of Gremlins, because at the end, where what's the dad, I forgot his real name, says like, there could be one in your bed, like under your bed, one in your class. I'm like, fuck you, dude.
Right, that's not okay. Don't tell me that.
I'm fucking 4, man.
I have no power in this.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing to do about it.
Yeah, I mean, and my luck, I'm gonna feed it, and some horrible things happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I keep a glass of water next to my bed. Do I have to stop doing that? It's not right.
Yeah, I mean, I slept with the lights on I was afraid of the dark for a long time because of it. Now it's one of my favorite movies, obviously. That's what's weird, is that it becomes something that like hits you and makes you afraid and triggers your fear, quote unquote, air quotes. Sorry, I do that all the time. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. You can't see that. You don't know. Just Ray. Sorry. But anyway, that you both fear, you end up like the more you either completely avoid it. Yeah. Or you work through that fear, and it ends up being like one of your favorite things. Yeah, you embrace it,
right? Yeah. Like the Michael Jackson video, or there was one time it was '93. I was 8, and it was my sister's birthday. She wanted to go see a movie with a friend, and she couldn't. She figured she would take me along, and she was like, it's PG-13. What could be the big deal? It was Jurassic Park.
It was traumatizing.
I had nightmares for a month that a giant T-Rex head was going to burst through my window and eat me in bed.
I mean, you can make The effects were so good,
well,
though.
you could also, I mean, honestly, you can make a claim that it is a horror movie.
Right. There is kind of a fine... Right, there's a fine line there.
Yeah, I mean, people die. They are stalked. The dinosaurs
as
are...
prey.
Yeah, like a slasher. Right. Like the movie we're going to be talking about tonight.
Which is what, Ray?
Halloween 1 and 2. Yes.
Ooh.
We're going to... So, to give you a little idea of how we're going to do this podcast is we're going to work on franchises. And some episodes will be maybe 2 or 3 episodes in the franchise, so that way it's not just like we're gonna.
Right.
A lot of these have been talked to death
because we have lives too.
Exactly. Right. But some
as well as you, respectfully.
Yeah, but some franchises are smaller, so it'll just be one. I mean, because we can handle Evil Dead in one episode.
Oh yeah.
So we thought we'd start with, because we're getting close to Halloween. I know I'm just dating this, which is great. But we wanted to, pay homage to the great
right
of the
and sort of not totally, but sort of what started it all. What started anyway with the Final Girl films that we talked about.
Yeah.
Or the what and Halloween particularly was a sleeper hit. Nobody thought this was good. That's one of the amazing things, like that. It's not just a horror flick. It's not just a slasher film. As I got older, I became more interested, and as I also got to do more theater and had friends that diverged into various areas, doing either films or building sets on Broadway or doing stage makeup for horror projects, like what do you call it, like a theme park, like
like a haunted attraction.
There's a friend of mine that does makeup, and she just kind of picked it up and learned how to do it, and she's amazing. She's also an amazing painter, surrealist, really great. But the more that the veil was kind of lifted on that sort of thing, the more interesting it became. Of what goes into it.
And how much appreciation you have for this art form, because it is different than just slapping and I'm not slapping, but putting together a drama.
Slap out, I slap.
Slap out, I slap. Because there is so much work that goes into creating practical effects, and it's kind of mind-boggling when you think about the ways that how they put something together that is like so intricate to make a fucking chest burster from Alien or something like that it's like it's a practical effect, and it's super sad now that like kids today are not gonna, I mean, unless they're horror nerds and go back to see the beginnings and see the cool practical effects from the 80s, they're not they're gonna get CGI bullshit.
Right.
So
I don't know if I'm just, like you said, like if I'm just aging myself, or I think particularly because I'm from, you're Gen X, correct?
No, I'm a millennial.
You're a millennial, and I'm at the very tail end of what they are now calling the geriatric millennial.
I'm even, so I'm the geriatric millennial.
Welcome to the club. What's up?
Yeah. Get my walker ready. Get my Paul Walker ready. What?
My God, I got my tennis balls already.
R.I.P.
Got them moving. But we're the last generation that remembers life before the internet.
Yes.
Which single-handedly changed the world.
They call us the lucky ones. That's what another moniker that they give this grouping, because yes, we do remember what it was to type on a fucking typewriter, and
we still had a rotary phone.
Yes, like what a rotary phone was like. We know that the pound symbol on a phone is not a hashtag.
Right.
Yeah. Super sad.
Yeah. It is pretty.
Yeah, it is super sad. It's fine.
My sister was in there. She's like, I'm seeing babies now that are like, they'll be playing with some kind of book or magazine, and they'll touch the book or magazine expecting it to do something because they have tablets and laptops and whatever. It's just, and I don't know, there's a part of it that's kind of sad, but maybe it's
super
just
sad
not.
because you need to, because that's part of development is tactile.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's
it's like, its aunt helps their brain. Like, it's a baby eyes. Okay. But okay. Give them fucking blocks. Like, now I sound like my parents.
But and I think that actually kind of connects back to the practical effects stuff too, because it's a tactile thing. You can actually you can see the ooze, and there's something to be said about that. It makes it creepier. It makes it creepier. But
let your kids play in the dirt.
Yeah, and you appreciate the work that went into that too.
Of course, I have to cite my references, but we're just talking. I may look it up later, but there was an article I read ages ago when I was still in school about, I think it was about helicopter parents and the effect they're having on their children growing up, because they're too, as the term suggests, they're too, hovering over their kids and trying to, correct them at every step rather than letting them go, hands off, figure it out. Those are the kids, the kids that are still allowed to play and create. Those are the kids, as they grow up, are better at troubleshooting, and they have better chances at having jobs as like an engineer or, a fucking scientist or a virologist or somebody to crack some kind of code, because and actually my boyfriend is much a testament to that, because where he works, he's in a specialized department that they just created for him and a hand select few of other people in this big corporation that he works at, specifically dealing with the kind of troubleshooting they do, because he was a kid who had and still has ADHD, but he always played. He was very good at troubleshooting, and he likes solving a puzzle. So so I rant, obviously rant, but it's important. But it's things like that go into this, like when you do like creature makeup and stuff like that in horror films.
And I was just going to say, it ties back into what we were talking about earlier, but before we started, and about these are a group, especially with Halloween, is a group of friends. Yeah. And so it's a group of friends really sitting and playing. That's what they did. They wanted to play, and they were just lucky enough to be given. What was it, $50,000 to
I think it was Halloween was $300,000.
Yes, $300,000.
But total. But $10,000 of that was it was either Donald Pleasant's fee. No. Yes. Donald Pleasant's it was Jamie Lee Curtis got $10,000. Wasn't it?
She got
she got one.
She got $2,000.
Okay, she got $2,000.
Donald got $20,000.
$20,000
for 5 days. 5 days of shooting. Okay,
drunken shooting.
And shooting. We're gonna get to that too.
And $70,000 was earmarked strictly for the thing that set this film apart was their usage of their camera.
It was the Steadicam was the second use of Steadicam.
Yeah. It was the second use of it, and it was the most expensive at the time. But it made the difference. And it's like, you blow what percent?
A lot to work with, and came up with
like 23% of your budget.
Yeah,
is strict just for the cameras.
Right. I mean, and shout out to, there is a really great little like docu-series on Netflix called The Movies That Shape Us, and we both watched the one on Halloween. And just see the actual footage. Yes, it's just the actual footage that they shot with the Steadicam, like the different. Mostly the first scene of the film is, you can definitely, because it looks like a one take, but because it's where, well, again we're gonna get into it. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna talk about Halloween.
Sweet.
Halloween. So we'll be back in two.
And we're back.
Let's crack-a-lackin', bitches!
Cracking on this berry vodka, not sponsored.
Yeah, no, they can.
Not sponsored.
They can if they'd like, because
I mean, I'm fine with that.
I'd like all of the vodka, please.
Absolutely.
Oh, boom!
Hey, I'm dating a dad. So I for the last 5 years, I've been dating a dad of 2 girls, and like, it's rubbing.
Well, I hope it's rubbing at some point.
I mean, it's pretty good. Hey, it's fine. I'm starting to do it.
Somebody posted on Twitter that Ted Lasso was the manic pixie dream dad, and I was like, yes, he is.
He absolutely is.
Oh my god, the dad jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, even the sweater and khakis, I love it.
I know. Sweater vest.
Mustache ride.
My dad. was a great segue.
Yeah, no,
Thanks, Ray.
They don't Halloween.
Next subject.
Okay, yeah.
Because my dad had a mustache, so I'm just gonna move on.
Let's just move on up. Jump on that. Moving on up. So, 1978 is upon us.
Here we are. I was not thought of yet. Yeah, 1978.
Yes. So, two different stories have been told about how this came to be. From a Vulture article I found, the producer, well, he was a booker, Erwin Yablans. So it's like goblins. Erwin Yablans.
Erwin Gremlins.
Gremlin Blattler. Erwin Yablans dreamed Halloween on an airplane on the way back from a film festival in Milan. He said by the time the plane landed, he got off, called John Carpenter, and sold him on The Babysitter Murders.
What it was known at the time.
That's what he says. I was coming, and he literally said this in an article. So when we told the other story, you're gonna be like, "Wait, what?" He says, "I was coming back from a film festival in Milan, and I was looking for an idea that wouldn't cost money because I didn't have any money. I couldn't afford to buy a book or a play, and it happened to be Halloween night." He sold it to John Carpenter, and so, but we didn't obviously the title.
Yeah,
that
doesn't roll off the tongue.
No, but if you watch this Netflix docu-series, Erwin has a different story altogether. His wife had something to do with it. I'm going to go with this story. I think this is probably closer to the truth.
Right.
Because
he hasn't had time to rethink it.
Yeah, right.
Most likely.
His was a little bit more, there's a lot more in the docu-series going to do this and that and this and that. I'm like, I think this might be a tall tale. Yep.
Not as tall as he is.
Yeah, I'm going to go with this
Much
one.
taller than he is. He's a little shorty. He's a little sweetie, though.
He's a little guy. So this was also coming off of Carpenter's. He worked with Carpenter on Assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah.
Which is his 1976. And kind of what made Carpenter.
That was also a different title, wasn't it? Wasn't it supposed to be something else? Siege before.
Siege first. And Deborah Hill was dating Carpenter at the time and helped write Precinct too.
Yeah.
And so Carpenter said, "Fine, I'll do it. I'll pretty much do it for I think he's the one who took $30,000 to direct, edit, and compose. Yeah.
The music.
Direct, write, and compose. And he said, but one caveat is my girlfriend at the time, Deborah Hill.
My girlfriend.
I want her to help write. And everyone's like, whatever. Fine.
Right. Back in those days, it was like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah. I mean, when we said it was pretty much a group of buddies doing this, it really was. Erwin was the outsider, but it was literally Nick Castle, who goes on to be Mike Myers, did it for free.
Yeah.
He was a dancer.
Right.
And so they're like, he's got something, he can move. He can, he can be menacing if he needs to be. He has the body,
And I thought actually in the, and not to, directly quote or utilize that Netflix show as a source or whatever, but it was a source, documentary, whatever. When Nick Castle was being interviewed, he had mentioned something that kind of stuck out to me that, he's like, they just told me to, everybody was like, oh, Michael Myers, he has this menacing walk and he's very stiff and still and it's so creepy. And he's like, he told me where to walk and I just walked there. I didn't do anything special.
Well, he even talks about the head tilt.
The head tilt.
Yeah. John just told him to do it.
He told him to do it.
And they all do it now.
Yes.
They all do it.
And it yes, Jason does it too. And Friday, we'll get to that. But it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from, I'm a huge Hitchcock nerd, which I'm sure we'll cover at some point and do some Hitchcock films because I love it. I actually took a class in college that was offered locally. Nice. Where the teacher had just written a book. He had just published his book. So cool. On Hitchcock.
Awesome.
And it was a 1 day a week, 2 hour class, because he had to have enough time to watch a movie.
Right.
It was really, really fascinating. That really super got me into Hitchcock. But Hitchcock famously said, he and Gregory Peck, who worked together on Spellbound, which is one of my favorites. Gregory Peck was a method actor, and he had a hard Hitchcock had a very hard time with method actors because Hitchcock had his vision and he knew frame to frame in his head what he wanted. And there's a famous, argument between them where Gregory was getting frustrated and said, but what is my character's motivation? Why does he move from here to there? Yeah. What is his motivation? And Alfred Hitchcock says, your paycheck.
Yeah.
Like, you do what I tell you. Yeah. Like, I'm the director. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's been he and Gene Kelly are notorious for treating their actors like shit, though, too. Right. Throwing birds at, what's her face?
Oh, God.
But speaking of Hitchcock, I mean, there's so many connections to Halloween. Right. I mean, Sam Loomis is named after Marion Crane's boyfriend from Psycho. And, of course...
Psycho. Everybody knows who the star of Halloween or her mom is Janet Leigh from Psycho. Everybody knows that's a common fact. But what was also it struck me thinking about that, not just about Jamie Lee Curtis, but as I started watching, we rewatched for this podcast. We rewatched Halloween 1 and 2 just to kind of keep it fresh in our brains and take notes and whatever. When I was watching Halloween 1, and I watched that. The movies that made us, what we were just talking about, the guy, the booker.
Irwin.
Yeah. He said, I didn't want a lot of blood. I didn't want this to be like a gore fest.
That's what he said,
and he was very insistent on that.
Which
which is one of the few things he was insistent about. And actually, I think in a way it made the movie better. Like that's part of what made the movie great, because he said it needed to be more psychological, and is what Hitchcock was all about.
Well, and I want to get into that when we start about 2, because I want to talk about the sibling thing. Because I think you can make a argument on either side of the sibling issue.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about. So this is also, mind you guys, this is a time period. Halloween was released in a period in which young female protagonists, really translated well to the box office, because especially exploitation. Like, you have pom-pom girls, candy-striped nurses, which I was like, I've never heard of that, but that's kind of sexy. Okay. And in more mainstream movies like Exorcist II, The Fury, and of course, Big Papa Carrie. So, which PJ Souls was like, wasn't she the mean girl in Carrie?
Yeah, she was one of the mean girls who in Halloween played Linda. Yeah. The blonde.
Super cute.
Totally.
Super, totally. Ugh. Super cute. I thought she was adorable. Go give me a beer.
Give me a beer. A beer. Pigtails and bang. Ugh.
Also in the late 70s too, you have this, which I think, when we talk about the sibling thing, I think this is why it pisses people off. The 70s is also an era where you saw the proliferation of like serial killers again. So you have Son of Sam, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Hillside Strangler. So these are rando killers. Yeah. And so I think that's the tension you have in this movie, is because it is a random person just fucking killing people. Right. Why?
Right.
So.
And despite the serial killers having, like Ted Bundy, his primary target was women. Right. And John Wayne Gacy, his primary target was teenage boys. Right. Whereas you have here, and Son of Sam, if I remember correctly too, his was a little more random.
He was women. He liked women, and he liked the hair parted in the middle. Kind of like Ted Bundy did too. He liked
the Night Stalker. Although that was the 60s, I think.
No, that was late 70s.
Was that 70s? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But same. Yeah. He had a type. He had a type. Yeah. Whereas in these films, it's like, it's free for all, kind of.
Well,
to a point.
To a point, because my next point,
the virgin rules.
Yeah, I was going to talk about the final girl.
Yeah.
So this is where you get the trope of the final girl, where it's like the less popular virgin status. Yeah. It's. You have to see the women having sex or being sexual. Right. The ones who end up getting it, and then getting it, not just getting it.
Not just, right. Getting all of it. I'm not sure if it's absolute not sponsored, the movie that started this, but it's definitely one of the first that started that. The horror movie rules that everybody knows. That was referenced in Scream years and years later. Mm-hmm. No sex, no alcohol, no drugs, and never say, I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah.
Never say that.
That's right.
And because he was going to get the berries, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. I'm going to probably say, yeah, it is. I would say.
Yeah.
I didn't look. Did you look that up?
No.
Okay, because
I was just
really
as
great,
I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this is what started it all.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much. Because it was, Halloween of 78. When was Friday the 13th? It wasn't.
Not that I didn't give you credit, that I don't believe it. But I'm just saying, it's such a good connection that I'm like, wow. I'm like,
thanks, Ray.
I give you a complete credit. You're super smart.
Oh, it's
You're smart, cookie.
I wrote first person camera perspective, nod to Hitchcock. Because I noticed that in the beginning, being a fan of Hitchcock, and in the very beginning, actually, and they touched on this too in that documentary, they said how long it took them to shoot the opening scene. It was so hard because doing a single shot like that with no break, and they actually did have to break. And that's what was so cool to me, and that they did it in such a clever way. Yeah. The moment where little boy Michael puts on the mask, and there's that split second of he's adjusting the mask, and now you can see the little eye holes. That frame that second of a frame, that's where they got to cut and restart because they only had so much film space for that. Yeah. For these fancy new cameras, but. Anyway, that was... So,
while we're talking about that, let's go through let's go through the movie.
I'm all over the place.
So, no, you're fine.
What's my point?
So, we start with an 8-year-old... No, he's 6. He's 6-year-old Michael. It's Halloween night. He's dressed as a little clown. And, I mean, that's the worst costume ever.
Please stop. Nope. Although, clowns weren't nearly as scary until... It. Yeah. That's what did it.
I never liked clowns even before I saw it. They're not funny. Everyone's like, they're so funny. You know what it was?
It was fucking... I mean, yeah, it's uncomfortable with the make. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you watch old school,
But it was... I won't lie, though. It was definitely influenced by Are You Afraid of the Dark? Which, again, I was a huge fan of, but was equally terrified. Back in the Snick days.
Yeah, I mean, they had some good episodes on that.
That was good. I mean, it was all copycat. But, I mean, be real. They got to, tone it down a little bit. But there's still times, yes.
Those Canadians.
There's still... I love you, Canadians.
Ryan Gosling. That's right. I do not find him attractive. Anyhow, that's a different podcast.
I honestly don't. Yeah, that's a different... I don't either.
So, we got this little boy going up the stairs. He comes in. His sister, of course, is messing around with her boyfriend. Right. She's supposed to be watching the kid. Right. And notice I say kid. Right. Not kids. Kid. Just one him.
Right. Yup. Because that's important.
It's important. So... it alludes they have sex or do something heavy petting.
Well, here's the thing about that. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead and finish. Go for it. Okay, so here's what I'll just read a couple of these. 2 of these. So did Michael have any indicative history of social disorder? Wouldn't his sister have known that? Would have known that, did he not really, he was silent for 15 years and was this dark and evil and 0 signs before that? Were there?
It was 1960 something.
63.
63. I'm gonna chalk it up to 63.
He was 6 years old. Do you think they would have known then that, was he a mute? Was he always like that? You know what I mean? A kid that would have more of a special need where the sister would have known never to, because she was like, oh, he's fine where he is. He's fine whatever he's doing, and nobody's hurting anything. Because again, this was back in the 60s where, liability, schmiability, nobody gave a fuck, and you could, prime example, when I was a kid growing up in small town Ohio, I used to, in the 80s, the blissful 80s, well, blissful for me. I would go swimming almost every day in the summertime in my neighbor's pool. Mm-hmm. That's unheard of today.
No, I know.
Unheard of. All I had to do, I did have, I could not go in there. I had to go at a reasonable time, 10. I would say because I was up at 9.
Crack a dog. I want to swim. Woo! Swim, please.
And I had to knock on the door to let them know I was there. Mm-hmm. So they knew I was there, but I was completely by myself most of the time, and they were fine. But they also, they also knew that I had swim lessons. I wasn't gonna, whatever. But anything could have happened. Yeah. God forbid.
Oh well, think about.
But you know what I mean?
We used to ride our bikes all over the place. Now it's like, God, you can't do that. You can't let the kids do it because somebody's gonna literally steal them.
Right. Yeah. It's just not like that nowadays. It's completely.
So you can imagine the 60s were even worse than that.
Right.
So part
in
of
that respect.
Yeah.
The other thing I realized he didn't kill the boyfriend. Did they finish that quick? Quick draw?
I thought that too. I was like,
because again, it's one shot, right?
Yeah,
it's one single shot in the beginning, and she's like, "Let's go upstairs."
Somebody's not getting an enjoyable experience.
I'm not kidding. That was not 2 whole minutes. There's no fucking way that was 2 whole minutes.
Well, when we get to what's her face,
I should have timed it.
When we get to Linda and Brad. That's real short too, and I'm like, there's no way.
There's a comment about that later too.
She's definitely not reaching her penultimate. Let's just say that. I was like, oh,
absolutely.
poor Linda. Then she's gonna get
they're
murdered.
Teenagers. Yeah, no, that sucks. But like, they're teenagers. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing
like,
when they're not age.
Anywhere close to her, and she's moaning already. I was like, oh wow.
Right.
Okay. Anywho,
right.
So he goes upstairs, and I think there's something to be said for. I'd like to really, at some point, get John Carpenter's view of why she had to be naked when he stabs her, because she's naked when Michael comes to the room. She does not have any clothes on, and she's like, Michael, get out of here, and then he stabs her with a knife, and I'm like, and she's definitely on the floor naked, and I thought, that's interesting.
And come to think of it, it's only 2 girls, right, where you see boobs in the movie. Only 2. His sister in the beginning and Linda.
Right.
And you barely see her. You just see like these giant, like crazy, weird razor nipples.
Yeah.
In like the shadows or something, like the shadow light or moonlight or whatever.
Yeah. But why did she have to be naked? Not that, and it's fine. Right, but I'm just saying, it just seems very odd that this child would come in and kill his sister while she. No one wants to get killed. Definitely, no one wants to get killed with that clothes on.
Right. No, I believe she had tube socks on. To be fair.
Okay, well, that's even worse. I don't know. For some reason, that's fucking worse.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But
that's
I'm
like having sex with your socks on.
Yes!
Get the fuck out of here. Here's the other thing that it jumped out to me. So she's dead. So
sure.
He comes out of the house, and the parents show up. And I was like, well, for the second movie, it doesn't make sense because they'd be like,
none of it makes sense.
Well, also, they don't go in the house to look to see who actually is dead.
Right, they're just like, Michael, what are you doing with that knife?
They looked a little too old to have a 6-year-old. So I'm really...
Did they?
Yeah. The mom did. I'm not being ageist, but she looked past childbearing age.
Like how old? I didn't know
I thought she looked like she was in her 50s.
Really?
Too old to have a 2-year-old.
6.
No, 2-year-old.
Right. Because that's Dose. Yeah. Because that's the next film.
Dose.
Anyway. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yes. I don't know. So then we move to 15 years in the future, and Michael's...
And a drunk Donald Pleasance.
So we found out in this documentary, Donald Pleasance did not fucking want to do this.
And he gave 2 shits.
He would drink 2 bottles of wine before he'd go shoot. And in this particular scene...
That take was the most coherent
that he had. And because they show the scene, and he was like so fucking blasted. Like he was...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I bet you he had a flask on him too. I bet you. But
easily.
It was hysterical.
It's so funny.
Because he fucking hated being there. And then they showed like some interviews with him being like, you make me sound like... I forgot what he said, but he was like, it's, it was overdrawn tripe or something. It was very funny.
That was... It was the only not fun part, actually, about making the movie. With everybody said, he was like fine because he wasn't there as much or didn't have to be involved so much. But like, yeah,
I was like, you can pay $20,000 for 6 days. Shut the fuck up.
Right, Donald Pleasance.
Although I would,
may he rest.
Young Donald Pleasance, all over that.
Yeah,
I would throw some hands. Legs over, possibly. Possibly. I mean, at this point, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Probably old Donald Pleasance too.
Yeah.
So then he shows up to the mental institution to pick up Michael, and I think they're transferring between hospitals. I think is that what they're doing?
They were taking him, I think, to a state penitentiary rather than
that
not penitentiary, but like it's like a state hospital rather than a local
institution. Yeah. So he sneaks out. And he does this fucking vertical leap onto this car that I laughed my fucking ass off because I know it was when you're watching with the critical eye. I was like, holy God, is he playing for the Knicks? What is happening? Jesus Christ! I was
has to have been a like one of those mini trampolines.
Yes, I was like,
That's
and he didn't hurt himself or break his legs. So I was like, whatever. Yeah. But John Pleasance had gotten out of the car to go check him out of the hospital. And he jumps in the car and he breaks in and he kills the nurse, steals the car. Never now going back and thinking about it, like if you told me, especially like Halloween H2O, and you're like, so that guy drives a car. I'd be like, no, he doesn't. Fucking. That's exactly what
I wrote. I said, when did Michael learn how to drive? Okay, okay, they do address this, and I went back to my notes when they did address this. I said, okay, they do address this later, sort of. Haddonfield is 150 miles away. Quote, maybe someone around here gave him lessons, said by Dr. Loomis.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because he was yelling at the cop that, that like, you gotta find him, he's crazy, he's evil. And they're like, well, how did he get, escape in the car? I thought he was in there for 15 years. And he's like, he seemed to do fine last night.
Yeah, when he was, yeeting on top of your car.
Right. And I'm like, well, but no, it still doesn't make any sense. So like, how?
Yeah.
And I think my thinking is that they might have added that in later. Or maybe somebody did think about that as a plot hole.
It could be. Because, man, if it was Stick, he would be fucked.
Thank you. I cannot trust.
No.
And it might have been, because that was an older car.
He's driving that fucker all over town.
Right. 150 miles.
And then when he gets to Haddonfield, he's driving it all over the fucking place.
Right. And he's slowing down appropriate and stopping at, appropriate stops.
Until we get the line, speed kills. So Laurie and her. Okay, so first I want to talk about the scene in the school, because something is said. It has to be related to the script. I'm gonna say Deborah Hill put this in, because it did say that anything that dealt with the girls, Deborah probably wrote it.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they did say that.
And there's a whole thing with the classroom where the teacher calls on Laurie about a line between.
So
Samuel Clemens and. Trying to think of what the other author she's talking about, but the line I wrote was "Fate is immovable."
Yeah,
and I was like, that to me this is the thesis of the movie. Fate is immovable. You cannot
kill him.
Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You can't. It is fate. It's not going to change.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything that Laurie could have done up to this point was going to change her fate, or any of those people's fate. I think that's what their thought was.
I was trying to dissect that a little bit, because I'm like, well, but she survives, and what's the fate? Is he the fate or is she? I don't know, and I kind of couldn't decide on that.
I think it was because he had waited for 15 years for this moment to come back to town.
Oh, right, and the doctor said that several times during the movie, so much so it was like, okay, do you have any other lines, buddy?
Yeah,
where he's like, he is I believe the word he used was inhumanely patient.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was something else I wanted to touch on, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Before the school. This is during the car ride with Dr. Loomis when they're getting to the hospital.
The nurse.
And he tells her, because I was curious and I looked it up. She said, "What are you going to do?" Or what's he on now, or something like that, referring to the medication. And he said Thorazine. And I was like, oh, what's that, Google? So I looked it up. Thorazine was its brand name. The drug was chlorprozamine. It was the first antipsychotic medication, which I did not know.
Yeah, they give it to schizophrenics.
And I didn't know that. And as I read a little further, that not only they used to give this to people before surgery, almost like I mean, as a definite sedative, but as because people get nervous before their surgery, or they're like worried and whatever, nervous, and this kind of takes them down a bit. But it also affects, and this is frightening me, affects the central nervous system. So when you're dealing with, and that's why they used it as an antipsychotic, because it affected. Let me see, to develop an antihistamine with effects on the central nervous system, as he believed this was the person who discovered it, as he believed this would be useful as a pre-anesthetic agent given prior to surgery. Its primary use in medicine from the 50s on was the treatment of schizophrenia, basically to numb them.
Yeah.
Because when you do... which, I mean, we could have an entirely separate podcast about the mental health system. Let's just not.
Yeah.
But it...
Yeah, but I mean, well, you don't expect it for 15 years of this, and you're gonna have this crazy monster that comes and kills a whole bunch of people. Right. Shocker.
Right. You think he was pissed? Was he pissed?
I think he was pissed.
You think he was just a little bit?
Well, he gets into town, and two things happen. So, Dr. Loomis figures out where he's going.
Yeah.
He figures he's going to Haddonfield. Yeah.
Right.
Which is his old, hometown. He's going home. In fact, at one point,
and he still remembers how to get there at night.
Well, at one point,
in a car.
Dr. Loomis goes, "He's going home." We haven't got to my favorite fucking Loomis quote, which we will. I have one that
there are a few of them.
There's one that I laugh my ass off every time. But so Loomis goes to the cemetery because they find out that he had been to the cemetery at one point. So he goes to the cemetery, and they're looking for Judith Myers' grave, which was his sister. It's fucking gone. Headstone is gone. Bitch is gone. There's a hole in the ground where the headstone was. I was like...
N/A.
Yeah. I was like, how do he get... Does he have, like, brute strength? Like,
that's what I said that too.
How's he lifting a fucking headstone?
I realized Mike Myers is strong. Michael Myers. I always say that wrong.
It's Mike Myers.
Michael Myers.
Star of Wayne's World.
Yes. But can he really... I said poor. Why did I say poor? I did not mean that. But can he really lift? I think I meant lift. Yeet a cement base from half a foot into the ground. Do you know how fucking heavy those things are?
Yes.
It's pure cement.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's that strong. But again, there's that touch of which we can, talk about going into the other film too. Mm. That
supernatural
part of exactly,
because Loomis brings it up. He says you have a mixture of supernatural and spiritual and human rage, and I mean it's I mean there's things in here that he should not be able to do.
Like take 6 bullets.
So
and burn, and
so the girls are walking home. So you have Lori. And you have Annie, and you have Linda. Are you okay? Annie is not okay by the end of this.
She's not going to be.
No. Poor Annie.
I know.
Annie's kind of obnoxious, though.
Totally.
Oh my god, I was like, girl, fucking do your job. Okay, at some point, you've got a child that you're supposed to be looking after. Look after the fucking child.
She's the worst babysitter.
She is literally...
Not only that, but then she pawns her off on her best friend.
And yes. Just to go, me.
Because she knows she will.
Well, I have a lot of questions about her. So,
as you pick up your notebook.
Here we go. So they're walking home, and they're and Jason drives by.
Right. Toot toot.
Toot toot. Beep beep. And they recognize him because he had been. No, he was just driving by fast, and so quote unquote fast. I didn't think he was driving by that fast, and
Annie's 25-mile-an-hour zone. It's by school, for God's sake.
And Annie goes, "Speed kills."
Yeah,
and he stops, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And
I know. Oh fuck, you really hurt us. We've all been there. Don't deny it. We've all done that.
So they're like, they go off their own merry way. The next day is supposed to be homecoming. So it's Halloween today and homecoming the next day.
Right.
Lori and Annie both have to babysit like neighboring kids that night. And so Lori's kind of freaked out from literally the car going by, and then Linda goes off to, I forgot where she was doing.
Fuck her boyfriend.
And so all of a sudden they come across some bushes where Mike Myers pops out like, "Hey, what's up?" You know that meme of Kim Kardashian coming out of the bushes? That's what it looked like Mike Myers. And Lori's like, "Holy shit, that's the guy from the car." And so Annie goes up and looks, and of course he's gone. Right. The shape has left. And so this, Lori's a little nervous, right? Because she knows what she saw.
Right.
Also, we have I forgot how they get in the car. How do Annie and they get in the car because she picks her up to go babysit, right? So they're going off to babysit, and you have one of my other favorite lines, which is her dad, which is Annie's dad says, "It's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare." That was a creepy.
I wrote in here, Annie's dad is a creeper, period.
He wants to...
He's fucking weird.
He's weird. He's weird with Lori. He's very weird with Lori.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah, I didn't like it.
So, but
totally.
I do like
I
that
also
line.
wrote totally several times.
Because Linda has a
Throughout.
penchant for saying
Penchant.
for saying totally.
God. But in all fairness, thank you, Deborah Hill. That was highly likely very accurate.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and in the doc, in that Netflix doc, they said, look, not only did Deborah Hill write the dialogue, most of the dialogue for the girls, but most of us, again, this was a noob project for these people making this film. They said, their high school years weren't that far behind them. Like, they still remember.
Right. So it was...
what was realistic. Oh, and the car. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
No, go for it. No,
talk. I talk over you.
No, you're fine. Go for it. The car.
In the car.
Wagon. It's a cool station wagon, man.
The shaggin' wagon. Man, I wish I remembered where this was, but all I wrote was, quote, I wish I had you all alone, just the two of us, end quote, enter Michael.
Oh, that's when she's walking and singing.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right.
She's walking and singing, and Deborah
That's
told
what she
her...
was singing, and I thought it was fucking funny.
Deborah told her, it's not a song. She goes, just sing anything. Just make up words. And so she actually... But Deborah told her, and she goes, it works perfectly. It works perfectly because it's where she's at.
And it was fucking hilarious.
And it's hilarious, yeah.
I was like, doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
Again with Michael. Annie's dad is a creeper. Okay, I already said that.
Don't fear the Reaper.
Don't fear the Reaper. Fuck yes.
And I was like, dang, holy shit, is that on the nose? But I love it.
It's so on the nose. So there are two things I noticed in that scene. Three. One, Annie's fucking annoying. And I'm not sad to see her go. But Don't Fear the Reaper plays in the car. Third, we never see Lori smoking weed.
Yes, you
Again, this heart. She holds and passes it, but we never see her inhale or exhale. And then I corrected myself and I said, not face on anyway. It was from behind.
Oh, okay.
So we never see her doing because it ties back to
drugs,
the final girl, the virgin girl.
Yeah.
The final virgin or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, can't do anything wrong.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really interesting too because they go out of their way to pretty much say that Lori's a virgin.
Right.
Because she talks about
they call her a Girl Scout. And
they call her a Girl Scout, and all literally these other two girls are crazy. I mean, no shame, no judgment, but they're fucking out of their minds with fucking their boyfriend.
Right!
To the point where you neglect the
Those
child.
fucking suck.
You neglect the child so that you can have sex
Girl,
with the boyfriend.
come sit by me.
Yeah.
Those friends are kind of shitty.
Yeah. And the one, so Annie actually around this point too is, they make a point of Annie or Lori says, I can't talk to guys like you guys do because and all the guys think that she's too smart. Right. Which is at the time, unfortunately, she probably was ostracized a little bit because girls were not supposed to be smart. They were supposed to be they left high school when you got married and that was it. I mean, not that you couldn't be smart, but I'm that was not expected of them.
No, and it was becoming less and less. It was sort of the tail end of that. Yeah. In 78, women's lib was starting to really rise up, and this age group was seeing that they had other possibilities. Yeah, they had better possibilities. Yeah. Than just making babies.
But I think, the other two didn't fucking care. I think they're whatever.
Zero shits.
Yeah, they're Brad. I'm gonna keep him. Brad is a creep too. That's neither here nor there.
Oh, Linda's boyfriend?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a fucking douche.
Yeah.
He's a freaking douche.
So, because there's a line he says where I said, holy shit, what? So, okay, so then we get this wonderful scene, but I completely forgot, is that they go into the Myers house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loomis and the sheriff.
Oh yeah.
The Myers house.
There.
Fully forgot that Michael eats a dog. Michael's been eating dogs.
Yeah. No, I said...
He must have gotten hungry.
But you know what they said? But the douche dad cop was like, oh, it was probably a skunk. A fucking skunk?
You would smell it, dude. You would smell it.
A, he would smell it, and B, a skunk killed a dog? No fucking way.
Oh, is that what he thought? I thought he meant...
That's what he said. He said it was a skunk.
Maybe he thought that... Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, that makes sense.
I
was so hot on...
A skunk?
I was so hot on, it's just the fact that Lewis goes, he must have gotten hungry.
He was hungry.
I was like, oh,
I know.
God. And then, Because in the second one, we've got another dog scene in that one. But I'm glad we didn't see it, this one.
Right. Even back then, PETA was... I don't think PETA was a thing back then.
No, but I would have been pissed. In my mom's womb, 2 years later, I've been pissed.
The other thing I wrote about the same scene was, dude, if the doctor is scared, you definitely should be.
Right?
Like, you should be more worried than you are.
Yeah, like, he's known this guy for 15 years, guys. Let's,
You've known this doctor for 15 minutes.
Right. Right.
And he's fucking freaked out and carrying a gun for a patient. Right. That's not okay. So, like, that's not normal.
There is one character I want to bring up because he does play a tiny role, but a pivotal role in the second one, and that is Ben Bennett. Tramer. Ben Tramer, who Lori loves. Yeah. And she's too scared to say anything to her. Of course, Annie the bitch just goes, oh yeah, like, I guess called him and said, yo, Ben, Lori, wants to get in your pants. And he's like all super stoked about it. So they were supposed to go to homecoming the next day.
Yeah.
So I want to bring him up just because. But at one point, they're going out drinking. And I said to myself, where are these fucking teens going to bars at this time? Like, they're just going to bars? How are these teens just going to bars? Who's not?
Were they in a bar? Is that what they said?
They said they're going drinking. They said the guys were going drinking. I'm like, what? In what world?
But they could have been
1978.
Going...
That's what
well, yes.
Yeah.
And they could have been going drinking at, like, a buddy's house or, like...
I think they went to a bar. I think that's what they meant.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Wow. Anyhow.
Well, yeah. Backwoods. I mean...
It was Illinois. Who knows? I'm just kidding. Love Illinois.
I also wrote down... because I randomly remembered it, and it's only because my friend is obsessed with this.
Avi.
Sure.
So we get then to
poor Annie.
Annie's supposed to be babysitting. Of course, just drops off Lindsay with Lori and the kid she's taking care of. I can't think of his name. Tommy. And so she's gonna go find her boyfriend. So she's getting in the car with the pants on.
Right. Because she got butter all over her clothes or whatever for making popcorn.
And so at the same time, we also have... So I'm trying to think of... The kids try to get into the Myers house before or after this scene.
The boys?
There's a bunch of kids.
There's a bunch of... Oh, I think that was after.
Okay. Because this is my favorite line. My favorite Loomis line. So the kids are trying, like, they're throwing rocks at the house. Right. And in from the bushes, Loomis just goes, get your ass away from there!
It's like, the way he says it, it's so weird! It's like, does Michael Myers have an accent?
Yeah. Lonnie, get your ass away from there! It's my favorite line.
Oh my god.
But then we do have Annie. She tries to get in the car.
Oh, yes.
And she gets it in the neck, I think.
Strangled.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. You can't really tell what he does.
Freeform thoughts. Random deep thoughts by Jack Haney. That was one of my favorite things about SNL. How is that laundry room door only lock from outside?
Yeah.
WTF? And then I think we go to the Myers house, and then I think Linda and Brad show up. So I'll wait till Linda and Brad show up. So go ahead.
Oh, we can take it to Linda and Brad. Okay, so all this whole time, Tommy's been looking out the window, and he keeps asking about the boogeyman. The boogeyman. Which, I know, Tommy's adorable.
Oh my gosh, it warms my heart. Yeah,
Well, it makes me scared for him, but yes, because she doesn't believe him. Because Lori's like, come on, he's a kid. He's
and it's Halloween. There's probably people walking around.
Scary movies, and in fact, she says like, if you keep this up, I won't let you continue with. Whatever.
And they watch The Thing. Wink, wink.
They do watch The Thing, and so then we have the arrival of Linda and Brad. So FYI, also they're going over to Lindsay's house.
Right.
So, I got a question. I got many questions. My first is, fucking Brad says,
I think it might be the same thing I wrote.
You'll take your clothes off,
yes!
I'll take my clothes off, and then we're going to make Lindsay take her clothes off. I was like, that's a child! What's happening?
I wrote, ew! Rip Lindsay's clothes off, fucking creeper!
Yes, why are the men so creepy in this movie?
What the fuck is wrong with you? And she's like, totally.
I was like, not totally.
No! What? I'd be like, whoa!
I'd be like,
whoa!
You are not getting anywhere close to my vagina right now. No, thank you.
No,
thank you. Do not, no, sir.
I'm like, did he mean Annie?
I mean,
and nobody caught it.
Also, they're drinking in the car,
drinking beer in the car,
and they open the doors and all these beer cans fall out.
Right.
I was like, it was a different time. Right. It was a different time.
It sure was. Also, I wrote fantastic Bullshit. Another quick draw.
Yeah, because and I wrote here, did she even come?
No, she did not.
No,
There's no fucking way.
So they go.
I don't think either of them know how to do that.
There's this like trope with horror movies, especially in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like I think shopping mall reminds me of too. Is like people just fucking places. People
right.
You're gonna just like I'd be so pissed if someone can just fuck to my house.
Right.
Here's my kid. Watch my kid for the night. We're going out to a dinner.
Right.
Please don't fuck in my bed. Please.
Right. Please don't.
Thank you.
Also, don't die in it.
Yeah, please, and also watch my child.
Right.
So the fact is, like, everyone's just fucking in everybody's bedrooms. I'm like, and people were cool with it.
Time. There was no other opportunity. Well, and Brad had a fucking shaggin' wagon, right? He had a big giant van.
He did. He probably steals kids in it. Anywho,
that's nasty.
Yeah.
Oh.
So then they have this monumental sex, and we get the line, "Why don't you give me a beer? Go give me a beer." And she's like, she's filing her nails. And so Brad leaves Linda.
That'll sound great in editing. So.
Yeah,
like,
and goes down to get a beer, and we have one of the best kills in the movie. This is the best kill.
Agreed.
Probably, I'm going to say in at least the first couple movies.
Same. And I'll tell you why it's my favorite, but go.
No, so
go.
Michael Myers has come into the house, into Lindsay's house again. We're in Lindsay's house. And he stabs him, and he stabs him hard enough that he actually lifts him off the ground and stabs him right into a cabinet.
Right.
And
fucking stays there.
Like
fucking crucified.
Yeah.
Almost.
Like, yeah. And on a knife.
Right.
And his feet, you can tell he's dying because his feet just, like, unfurl.
Like the dog. Like the dog before. Same thing. Oh, poor dog. Poor Lester.
And so we then this is where you get the infamous head tilt. Yes! So he walks, he steps back from, and he's just looking, and then Mike Myers just turns his head, tilts, almost like I don't understand. It's like trying to figure a puzzle out.
I want to, because it's some kind of nonverbal. Whatever. It's like when we're playing with our dogs or cats and we make a funny noise and we're like, burr, 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 and we make a funny, and they tilt their head like, what is that?
Yeah. But you don't understand it. They're trying to make sense of it. Yeah.
And it's like some kind of primal, I don't know who thought of that, but it's so fucking genius.
Yeah, because it takes
so creep. It adds that creep factor.
And an impersonal sort of, this is watching an ant die. This is watching something. I'm not man, like your aunt, but like or a random animal or something. Like,
and was his first male kill?
Yeah. At this point, he's killed Brad. Okay, so he kills Brad.
Okay.
He goes back upstairs and he's got this sheet on with Brad's glasses over top of him. And he's just standing there, and Linda's, "Where's my beer?" And he doesn't say anything.
Stupid. You're being funny.
Yeah. And so she stands up and she takes her shirt off and she's like, do you like what you see? Cat got your tongue. Or no, she's a ghost. Got your ghost. Did I get your ghost? Did I get your ghost, Brad? And she's like, you're being weird. And then she goes over to the phone. She's going to call. She calls Lori. And as soon as Lori picks up the phone, Michael strangles her.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she's getting fucked.
Right.
And she's like, God damn it, you people stop messing around with me. Like,
P.S. kind of sort of happened to my mom, only not getting killed. When she was I know, weird segue, but just ride on the train. Jump on the train with me.
I'm jumping. I'm doing a vertical leap.
Clang. Okay. My thought process. So when my mom was pregnant with me, I came real fast. Like,
faster
the more
kids
apparently so. But honey, she didn't. I came at all.
Let me take back. Faster than Brad?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So my godmother was a next door neighbor of my mom's, and they were, super besties, and my mom was pregnant with me, and she's just like, my older sister and brother were in school, and she's like, my birthday's in June. She's just like, for fuck's sake, just please wait until after school. Just please wait until after school to be born. Next day.
No. You listened.
I did, apparently. 4 a.m. after the last day of school.
You really listened.
I did. And first of all, my asshole father,
who has a mustache, we've
established. I was trying to combine mustache and establish, but I can't.
Establishment.
I'm too many vodkaritas in. Not sponsored. So my mom was like, "Oh, the baby's coming! Oh shit, it's time to go." My dad had to get a shower. While he's in the shower, I know.
Wire men.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. He always, and my mom was like, he was fucking notorious for that. Pissed me the fuck out. I was like, what did he do? You fucking idiot. But anyway, so she's like, huh. And so she's making the call for my godmother and her husband to like rush over and watch my brother and sister. And she could just, and my godmother's husband was like, oh, very funny, blah, blah. And she's like, and he's like, Jane? Oh, shit!
Baby's coming.
Like, it's coming now! I'm like, it's just kind of funny. Where, like, you think somebody's crank calling you and, like,
oh, God.
Something else is happening.
Yeah. Fucking listen to me. I can't. My vagina's contracting, okay? Come
and
on.
my dick husband can't talk because he's in the shower! Because he has to cleanse himself before
my water literally broke.
Right.
Wireman. I love it. Well, unfortunately, this is not the call that Lori gets. No, sorry. Lori gets possibly someone getting fucked or strangled. Either of those two. So
neither nearly as fun.
No. So this, I'm trying to think of how we get. I'm trying to remember how we get into the house. How we get Lori to go over, because she's after the phone call, she's kind of freaked out. Like, she's like, what the fuck's happening over there?
Right, and nobody... Oh, and she sees the van.
Yeah, the van's there.
And the phone call, and she's like, everybody's having fun but me.
And there's no lights on, either.
Right.
So she starts walking over, she gets in the house, and she goes upstairs. She's calling for anybody at this point.
Right.
Goes upstairs, and she sees Annie in the bed, dead.
Right.
With the headstone again. The fucker brought that up 2 flights of stairs, man.
Police.
and it's she's laid out like it's like her, final resting place.
Right.
So my question was, why Annie?
That was my other question. Annie looked nothing like his sister.
Like Judith, no.
So I don't think there was any kind of point there. So Annie's laid out on the bed, right, with the headstone of Judith Myers, his sister. Mm-hmm. I was trying to get the connection there. And maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I overlooked something that's obvious.
No, I don't think so. Because I honestly don't think so. I just was trying to think of why Annie of the two. Because honestly, Linda looks closer to...
Maybe because it was the first?
Maybe.
The first in 15 years? Nah. Or that Linda just wasn't that interesting.
He definitely killed... Well, that's right. He kills that nurse. So.
Right. Oh.
Or does he kill the nurse?
No, I didn't think she died.
He throws her out of the car. Oh, no, yeah, you're right.
I meant to pay attention to this. He broke through the window. That was funny. Another thing that was brought up on the net. You guys have to just watch the movies that made us. It's like half an hour. It's not long, but it's... I don't know, but I love learning the behind the scenes shit, or like the things that were like, oh yeah, whoops. Like that moment when in the beginning when Michael breaks the glass, they're like, you could totally see it, but we don't notice because we're not really looking for those things. He had like a fucking wrench, that was flesh painted.
Yeah.
to break the glass.
Yeah. And you could see the outline of the wrench, but yeah, you'd have to like freeze the frame. You'd have to freeze it and pause it to see it too.
Yeah.
Like, it's very quick. But
like I think she rolled out. I didn't pay enough attention.
I'm trying to think if anybody else dies before that. I think Annie is the first. Yeah. So then we, Lori's very overcome, obviously, because she sees all of the bodies of her dead friends.
What? All at the same time.
All at the same time.
Talk about overwhelming.
I just rewatched it, and it's so amazing because she's standing there, and all you see beside her is just a black, just dark.
And they did that with a dimmer light, I think, where like, she was right next to the shadows. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, very slightly and subtly.
Yeah, he just sneaks out. And he shifts, and it's breathtaking how amazing it is.
Psychologically, in this movie, it tells its viewers that like no corner is safe.
Right.
So
he swipes at her and misses. Hits her arm, and then she falls over the railing. Down, what, 3 flights of stairs?
I mean...
And is alive and can walk?
And did not shatter her coccyx? Are you kidding me?
Any of her body?
Movie
magic!
Okay, I have a couple notes going through that.
That's what I'm going to do from now on. If something unbelievable. Movie magic!
Okay, I'm just going to read... Free form. Here we go, right?
Yeah.
Ready. Hold up. You mean the car Michael Myers was driving was only like 2 fucking houses away from where the doctor is?
Yeah.
Like, he suddenly gets out and then he hears screaming. He hears the kids running out of the house screaming. And he's like, oh, what the fuck? And it's like, God. Secondly, did the power get cut off in the neighbor's house? Turn on a goddamn light, Lori. I didn't think it did.
I don't know. No, they left it up.
They didn't want to get caught. They left the lights off. But Lori could have, like, turned on the lights and be like, okay, guys, you fucking douchebags. Turn on the... That's what I would have fucking done. 3, neighbors fucking suck.
Yeah, no one cared.
No one cared. She was like, help me! Help me!
Yeah, I said that happened around
and
my
they turned
house.
on the porch light.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then shut it off. And she's like, what the fuck? It's so, like, I don't blame her. She was out of her mind. And then... So you go to the house where the children are.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Not a survivalist in Girl Scouts, clearly. And post-production recordings could have used a better voice acting coach. But that's all I'll say about that. Because, well, obviously, you know, I think it's clear, and you can tell sometimes with the way that, you know, sound syncs up with sometimes, you know, you can't get all the voice recording right. Mm-hmm. The voice recordings you want, you know, in the scene, so you have to pre-record it, or you have to record it later on.
And we'll say for Jamie Lee too, this is her first feature film.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, she did a fantastic job.
Ain't mad at it.
No, get it, girl.
Right.
So she runs back to the house, and Tommy's like waking up, going like, oh fuck, what's going on? Where's she been?
Da fuck.
Yeah. So he's wiping out his eyes. He's rubbing his eyes. Comes to the door, and she's like, get up there, let me in the door. Yeah. And so
do as I say.
yeah, because you talk about the slow walk of the monster. The monster is walking. Michael Myers is walking towards her with this slow gait. He's not running.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to. He's scary the fuck enough just walking.
Again, psychological terror.
Yeah. So she gets inside, and she realizes she gets the door locked, and she realizes
the fucking window.
The window's open.
And she even was like, God damn it! She didn't say that, but you could hear it in her head.
She just say, she goes, oh no.
Yeah, fuck me.
Yeah, and literally he comes out of the shadows, and she does get a sweet ass, hit him in the neck with the knitting needle.
As she's realizing it, reaching out to fucking anything that's around, grabs the knitting needle. But I didn't see that. Well, okay, let's not dissect it.
Well, she was knitting earlier.
She was?
Mm-hmm. She's knitting earlier.
She knits? Good for her.
Good for a girl to have a hobby. Yeah, she was knitting earlier. Yeah.
That's what you do when you babysit.
It's called Chekhov's gun. You need to have that. You need to show her knitting so she can use the knitting needle to kill the monster later on.
Oh, I'm sorry for the claps.
Okay.
I do claps too.
That's okay, man.
I listened to Ray's other podcast, which we just referenced earlier, Chick Lip Book.
I know. It's
See, ours is a tongue twister too. But
I know. We just like these names that are super
I don't know.
long.
I think it's better that way. Especially when a few cocktails in. But
yeah. So he chases her upstairs, however, and then we get the infamous closet scene.
Oh, okay. So he said, okay, so he can lift a 160-pound, give or take, boy with one hand and drive a car, but closets are hard.
Closets are hard. Closets are hard. So are wire hangers. Because she starts trying to stab him with a wire hanger. I was like, girlfriend.
And he was like, "Buh, what's that?" It was like, it's like when you put something new in front of your pet for the first time, and they're like, "Buh, what's that?"
Yeah, like, what's
that hanger? Like, sniff it, and then retract like 10 feet. Sniff it, retract, and like, what is that?
Yeah. Let's just say, didn't do so well.
It's fine.
But we do have Loomis that comes in at the last moment at this point and shoots
our
him.
hero.
Which So, my last note on this is, although she's the final girl, she doesn't get the killing shot, which kind of sucks.
No, but
And she gets the, is he dead? Was that the boogeyman? And I'm like,
yes, it was.
Yes, it was. I was like, girl, can't she stab him and push him out the window?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Dr. Loomis, okay.
Sam. I know you've had like 4 bottles of wine. But...
Right. At least. Like I have. I said, Donald Pleasance doesn't seem very pleasant.
No.
I said, I think we can all relate now to that heavy breathing sound from a mask. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, every time I hear it now, I'm like, I sound like that when I have my mask on. I feel like...
Yes. In times of COVID. Yeah.
COVID.
It was life and... Was it love in the time of cholera. Love in the time of COVID. So that's the movie, guys. And,
that was
the
movie one.
Movie is that he gets up at the end. And,
right. But
is he really dead? Well, he fucking should be. 6 fucking bullets in him he should be,
right.
But he's not. Because he's a hard monster.
Right. Apparently some sort of supernatural combo being.
Evil dark eyes.
Right.
Devil's eyes.
I cannot get away with this podcast. I cannot get away. I can't get away from you. I fucking love you, but I do. I can't get away from this podcast without mentioning that this is my sister's favorite movie / villain.
Really?
Yes, for many reasons, which we have kind of, touched on.
Yeah.
Obviously, part of what's so scary, right, is the mystery. We don't know why, and it's not really explained that much why. And they weren't looking for this necessarily to be a franchise. That wasn't really a thing back then.
No, in fact, John Carpenter really
going to be really
did
like a one and done.
Yeah, and he says at one point, there's an article I read, and I don't think I have it in my notes, but he says, like, I'm sitting in front of here I am sitting in front of a typewriter, drunk, like pretty much like drinking beer, going, what am I fucking doing? But because he had to, like, they are pretty much like, here's a bucket full of money.
Right. You can have this,
yeah.
but you have to write blah, 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 the end.
So what right? So what he said is like, well, then I'm going to fucking end it. I'm going to make it sure that they cannot continue doing this. And so that's why we get, in the second movie, which I'm going to lead into it because I think with this part, because I think
yes,
it does shadow the rest of the conversation, is we find out in the second movie that Michael and Laurie are siblings. That she was 2 years old when he killed their older sister, and the parents gave her up for adoption. They were still alive. I was like, I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, they said.
I mean, I do understand how it works, but
they do say, like, when they do touch on that. Hold on. That they gave her up for adoption and they died.
Yeah. I was like, there's a lot going on there.
What?
Yeah.
How? Where? When? Why?
Yeah. It was.
These are the questions.
It's not. It's like one of those.
I don't have nearly as many notes on Halloween 2.
I don't either. I don't either. Because I was. Because
it was because the first movie again.
I've also seen this first movie about 5,000 times.
I have too. Yeah. And this was maybe like my second or third time seeing the second.
Yeah, I haven't watched this two very, very, very much.
Yeah.
So.
Because again, that's the thing with horror movies too, is that and these franchises, and also partly why we're diving into this kind of into this genre in general, is we're getting into the nitty gritty of these sagas, the series, the franchises. Why are there so goddamn many, and why are a lot of them like totally strayed from the other? Like everybody knows, every fucking buddy knows. Like part of what catapulted all this is you and I had a conversation that I've never actually seen any of the other Halloween movies except for 1 and 2. Any.
Yeah.
At all. And I was like, and the newer ones are coming out pretty soon, or one is coming out now and the other will be released next year, I think.
The third one. And it should be the end of this new trilogy.
Right. And they've said that for 20 goddamn years. So, like, this is it.
I mean,
the end.
There's, like, fucking Nightmare on Elm Street actually has a movie for Freddy's Dead. Guess what? There was more movies after that.
There was more movies after that. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I do, yeah. So there's, you know, the classic three, right? Michael Myers, Freddy, Jason. Mm-hmm. And people don't give, I guess, Pinhead as much as of, you know, credit as I'm not going to say as they should, but that's a different subject.
No, and just a side note, because I was watching it a little of it last night, as Joe Bob does. Joe Bob thinks that, Joe Bob Briggs, meaning Joe Bob Briggs, he thinks it is, and he's probably spot on. It is actually one of the most well put together horror movie franchise. Well, the first one.
Which one's?
Hellraiser.
Really?
It honestly, when you think about it, it is fucking terrifying.
And again, I've only ever seen the one. I've never seen any of them.
It is I don't think, like you said, I don't think it gives enough credit. It really doesn't. It is, the first one is I think very good. It's because it's fucked up, man. I mean, it is gory as shit.
It's very, very gory.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't mind.
Yeah.
I don't know what that. Anyway, go ahead.
But anyhow,
Halloween 2.
Halloween 2. So there's no like really. It goes from one movie to the next. There's no. It's the same
It's
night.
supposed to be 5 minutes later.
Yeah, it's literally they're picking up Laurie and taking her in the hospital.
And she's way more bloody than she was at the end of the first.
Also,
everybody knows.
wiggity whack, that wig is awful.
Yeah.
Because we're talking 1981 at this point, so.
Yeah, her hair's different.
Her hair's different, but that wig is fucking awful that they have her in. You
want to know the first thing I wrote?
What's that?
Oh, now the neighbor comes out to help. Fucking dick. Because he did. He's like, what's going on out there? I heard gunshots. It's like, oh, you didn't hear the bitch fucking climbing at your door when you turn on and off the light? You fucking dick licker. Can't.
Those are some thoughts, man.
Ass.
No, I mean, I agreed completely. Well, my first line is, ham sandwich lady. Yay, ham sandwich lady.
What?
So, yeah, there's a lady, she's making a ham sandwich, and...
the old lady.
Yeah.
She's like, she has the best fucking scream.
She is in they do a callback to the ham sandwich lady in the newest, the Halloween 2018.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My question was, why don't they kill this couple? Why doesn't he kill this couple? He just steals their knife. I was like, oh, fuck. I guess.
He respects his elders.
I guess. So he's still out and proud. He's like going out and like he needs a new knife now.
No.
Yeah. He's like, man, now I need a new knife, bitches.
I don't need a fucking mayonnaise knife.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
Yeah. I would have taken the sandwich too. I'd be like, I'll just take the sandwich. I'm a little hungry. I want to eat another dog. So I'm looking at my. So I think it's very fascinating though that they are watching Night of the Living Dead. And it's partially that part.
That's what the older couple did?
Mm-hmm. Oh. And it's he's coming to get you, Barbara. Which is my favorite part. And I was like, isn't it interesting that that's what's playing?
Because he's coming to get...
Yeah, he's coming to get you. He's going to get you. So then we flash to... So Laurie's on her way to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And we flash to this... young girl, she's a high school student, who has just heard about what's happened with all the, with Annie and Linda and everything like that. And like she's talking to her friend, like, we probably knew these people. And this poor girl gets it. I was like, why does she get it? She didn't do nothing. She's not talking about fucking anybody. What the hell? Why is she getting it? But I did like her line. Her line was, so she's talking to, she had heard screaming, and it was the old lady, old hand sandwich lady. She hears that, and she's like, "Oh, it must be the whatever the couple is." And she's like, "Well, you know that she's always treating him so bad." She says, "Maybe he had enough and started beating her." What? That's
a thing in your town?
Well, that's the fact. It's like it's okay for her to be murdered because.
Right, because she was like Mrs. whatever and Mr. whatever, and I think it began with an H.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hellman's?
Ham sandwich. Hellman's mayo. But I was like, wow, that's a take. That's a real take. That is a take. Yeah, so
they're setting the scene.
They're setting, and she does
setting the culture.
But she's kind of like, yeah, well, maybe she'd shut her mouth and she wouldn't, maybe he wouldn't beat her.
Make me knock it.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Come the fuck on.
So then we go over after she gets murdered.
I'm drinking all this champagne. I'm sorry.
After she gets murdered, unfortunately, we flash to the EMTs. Why is it in every fucking horror movie the EMTs are goddamn assholes?
Stupid assholes.
Because the one is the biggest sleazebag, and I could not wait till he got murdered.
Oh, yeah, because you knew he was going to get it.
But
no, you're never going to get it.
Yeah.
You're absolutely going to get it.
Okay, so then at the same time...
Officially drunk.
They're on their way to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And then we flash over to what Loomis is doing. Right. And Loomis is talking to the sheriff, and...
Still in his weird 40s radio voice way.
Yeah, and he's got a gun. Because why wouldn't, he's still got his gun.
I love how the cops are like, they do comment on it. They're like, the fuck you doing with a gun? And he's just like, I fucking need it. Why?
Yeah, he's flashing it around and trying to shoot at people all over the place. I mean, that's what happens when you give a fucking drunk.
Shine the light over there!
Yeah, you give that fucking drunk a gun, that's what he's going to do. He's just shooting he's like aiming it at children. So at one point, he sees a guy in a mask crossing the street, and all of a sudden, and he's like aiming the gun at this kid because it looks like the same mask. He looks like Michael Myers. He's got the same outfit.
Who the fuck would have thought of that as a Halloween costume?
No, I think it was just. I think it was close enough. I don't know what, but it was, and they intentionally do it so that it's blurry, so it kind of looks like it, but anywho, he's trying to shoot at this person, and it's not. Well, we don't know that it's not, but it's not. Spoiler, right? For a movie from 1981. Yeah, exactly. It's not Michael Myers, but so the sheriff gets him to stop, trying to shoot this child because it's a child, FYI, right. And
a 6 foot. 6'2" child, tall child.
Yeah, who could lift probably a gravestone. And this cop car comes and just fucking nails him. Nails him into the side of another car.
Pins him against it. There.
Explosion.
Instant explosion.
And so they're like, "Oh, it's Michael Myers. He's dead." And they're like, "Let's get."
That was a freebie.
Yeah. And at the same time, the sheriff finds out that his daughter is one of the ones who was murdered.
Yeah.
And so.
Which, frankly, I was glad because I was like, get that guy the fuck out of here.
He's
movie, fucking creepy. Yeah. I didn't like him. The other cop was fine.
Yeah.
He talked funny, but he was fine.
Yeah, the blonde was actually kind of good looking. Anyhow.
What's bad? Bad?
He's 1981 good
Facile on the ojos.
Yeah. Facile. I like
is
that.
Is it facile? Is that?
Yeah.
Easy? Yeah. See.
Facile like Sunday morning. They go off together. So they leave this burning wreckage.
Right.
With a possible, we don't know if it's Michael Myers. We assume it is, but I'm like, there's a fucking pedestrian who just was murdered, and we're just leaving this burning corpse. But awesome.
There were other cops there, and weren't there? I heard sirens. I feel like maybe no.
Sure.
Sure. Oh, we gotta find this guy. Where do you think he'd be? Probably, if he's hurt, he's back at the house. So they go back to the Myers house.
Yeah, and this is where Loomis loses his fucking shit.
Yeah.
And he loses his shit, and because the deputy sheriff
shit
is
like 2 wine bottles ago.
Fuck yeah. But he's like, how do you know he's dead? He's, how do you know he's not dead? Blah, blah, blah.
I want to see the dental records.
He's like, I shot him 6 times. And of course, everybody's listening. And as is the television the TV reporter. And so she's like, what'd you say? She's got that microphone she's sticking up in there.
What'd you say?
And so she's like, this is just gold. We'll just let him talk. And FYI, one of the people in the crowd, Dana Carvey.
What?
Yeah. Did I write it down? Did I write it down? No, I did not write his character's name down.
We all start somewhere.
Yeah.
Extra.
So, anyway. They're like, okay, we can eat it. Well, then let's go, after we left this burning corpse, let's go check on it.
Sorry about it.
Let's go look and see if it's Michael Myers. Okay. So they're
like, he was pinned against a car from a car accident. I don't know. He caught on fire. Still could not be him.
Yeah. I mean, it is a crazy old man
screaming.
But
in fairness, he was right.
Yeah, right. This is a crazy drunk man screaming.
But who was it? Who did we find out later who it was, Miss Ray?
It was Ben. It was Bennett.
Ben Trimmer. Poor Lori.
Yeah. Well, although Lori's getting her own love adventure in the hospital. Okay.
Right.
So,
and at the moment, ATM, she's over it because she's got some other issues right now to deal with.
Yeah. So they get her to the hospital, and she's like, "Do not put me out. Please don't put me out. Please don't put me out."
Right.
Of course, the first thing they do is fucking put her out. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I was going to ask. I said, "Can they really sedate her like that without talking to her parents?"
She's under 18, and that's what.
But that's because she's a minor. Can they really?
It's life saving because they're trying to. Even though
it's not really, but
it's really not. I don't know. Who knows?
I see what you mean, but I know there's I know I should know this, right?
Right.
Well, no, because
you would see it on the other side.
I don't do criminal law.
Once they went to court, then you know. I don't know. It was weird.
Or medical or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So they do put her out. Poor thing.
Sure.
And because she another thing about it, she only has.
I know she was like, "Don't put me to sleep. Don't put me." And I was like, "Girl, get some sleep, bitch." Well, I'd want to not think about shit.
So we also get the entrance of one of the hottest nurses I've ever seen. Or was it Mrs. They call her Mrs. Alves?
Yeah.
She was fucking banging.
She was beautiful. Hot. And cold as ice.
Oh, I loved it.
Did she get killed? I don't remember ever seeing her body.
No, she's the one that
I thought it was implied.
It sanguinated him or her. The blood was all over the floor. That's
that Jimmy slipped on later.
Yeah.
Was it Jimmy?
Yeah,
is that
Jimmy
what's okay.
Knocked
Sorry.
himself out.
Sorry.
Okay, so
we'll get there. But
then we get to this one scene, which is fucking. I wanted to light shit on fire. So Jimmy has been like kind of flirting with Lori because he realizes who she is, and his brother is somebody like he goes to school with.
I don't think it was flirting at first, but I think initially he was just like, oh my gosh, I kind of know her.
Yeah.
Because my brother goes to school with her. I'm like, oh, she's been through some fucking shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to go into protective mode because I kind of know her.
It's very sweet. He is very sweet.
In the beginning.
Yeah.
But then later, it gets kind of like, I'm not going to let anything happen to you.
It's like, dude, you barely know her. You might have seen her at a basketball game, dude.
Right.
I mean, which is super sweet. It's very sweet. Whatever. He's got an awesome, like, greatest American hero.
But he's cute. It's okay.
Yeah, he's all
I
right.
mind it.
I'd rather take the nurse. So then they're in Jimmy and Bud, right?
Yeah.
Bud is this
because of course it had to be a name like Bud.
So Bud is the other EMT who is the one I brought up the comment. This is why is because I said, why are they all assholes? He is
a disgusting douche.
He's a disgusting douche. And at least my note here says, someone kill this gross motherfucker. Because I'm going to read what he says when one of the nurses comes in.
Yeah.
She comes in and she's like, hey, Bud. I don't that's his name, but he has another name. Anyhow, but she calls him Bud.
Yeah.
Hey, Bud. And she's sweet thing. She seems like
sweet thing.
Plenty nice person.
Yeah.
And he's, her name's Grace. And she's like, I'll see you later on this floor or whatever. And so she leaves and he says, Amazing Grace, come sit on my face. Don't make me cry. I need your pie. And at that point, I wanted to stab myself in the ears and reach through time and cut off his dick. So, right. Yep.
I mean, sometimes they just set it up for us. They tee it up, and we're okay with that. This is the horror genre we live in.
I know.
I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it?
I'm okay with it because, like, some people you're just like, oh, fuck that guy, dude.
Yeah, they definitely make it so that, like, you
don't feel
rooting
so
for
bad.
him to die.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like, that could be cannon fodder.
Yeah, because shortly after we get to this really sad death of this, which is one of the best deaths in this movie, which is the hammer to the head.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That was amazing. But at the same time, this is poor security guard.
I know.
And I was like, this
Mr. Garrett.
Mr. Garrett's just trying to figure out why
why the power went out.
I'm going to check the fuse box. Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, that poor dude.
Right.
And he's probably just like, I don't know how many days to retirement. And
361.
Yeah. So, Lori is in and out of consciousness. At one point, she starts dreaming. and she's dreaming of going to the sanitarium.
Wait. Because I think doesn't douchebag and the nurse die before that in the tub.
Okay.
In the tub.
Okay.
I'm like, hold up.
Okay, all right, yeah,
because I do want to discuss. So
my first thought was, can't you guys fucking keep it in your pants for a goddamn minute? You're at work.
Look, it's more. First of all, it's more him than her.
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like,
She's
I
fighting
gotta
it.
work. Well, okay.
Yeah. Maybe leave the door open. We can hear the kids. I was like, okay, there's the thing.
The babies.
Literally, yeah. You literally said kids. So you're watching again. What is with people not watching?
Babysitting.
Yeah, watching children.
What the
fuck?
Movie. So the tub scene has and truly, it's just the first time I saw it. It's always freaked me out. Whenever I'm in the shower and I'm trying to like, because I live in an old building, and sometimes the plumbing isn't. Mm-hmm. Well, not sometimes. Just the plumbing is not 100%, and it's fine. You just deal with it. It's fine. But like I'm trying to adjust the temperature, and sometimes it's like fucking scalding. Yeah. I'm like, how is this legally possible? And then other times it's like it takes forever to heat it. It I don't know. It just depends. So in that vein, whenever I am trying to heat the water up more and turning it up just a little more, I always think of this scene.
It sounded like I was like, keep talking about it.
A little more?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Repeat that again, just softer and quieter.
Oh, baby, say it slow. So whenever, I always think of this scene when they're in the tub. And
we don't have it's not really a sex scene. They don't get very far.
They just make out and they're naked and whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, she's like, it's fucking hot. No, like for real, it's fucking hot.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, fuck.
Which
so
made
he gets
me question
out.
why it has to be that hot.
That's exactly what I said. Okay, so if you look on that,
Like,
it
if
says
you boil vegetables, you probably shouldn't.
That's exact. Okay, so I used to work in a coffee shop back in the day, and my thorough training, there's a certain temperature you cannot serve a child. Like if somebody comes up and gets a kid's hot chocolate, you cannot serve it above a certain temperature for a child
because of the
and the McDonald's coffee case,
which was totally legit because it was way hotter.
Did you watch the documentary?
No,
Hot coffee?
No, huh?
Oh, so good! Sorry, another document. Okay, I'm a documentary nerd, and I'll probably recommend a few, like, on this podcast, if that's cool.
No, it's not. Get the fuck out.
God damn it. So, so I learned about this, actually, before the documentary, it's called Hot Coffee, I think, came out on Netflix. I learned this years before when I was in school to be a paralegal. One of the guy's best friends was one of the attorneys on the McDonald's on the infamous, hot coffee McDonald's case. And everybody gave her, that poor old woman, so much shit.
Third degree burns
on her
vagina.
Her vagina and inner thighs. Do you understand? She had to go through years of skin grafts, and her, fun fact, they don't even say this in the documentary, it was so bad her clitoris burned off.
Ooh.
Can you even fathom that? Sip on that for a fucking minute. Can you even fathom that amount of pain?
Fell off just to think of that.
Just melted off. That's horrifying.
Because they were saying it was too hot.
So when you boil tea, right? When you what's the freezing temperature is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and boiling temperature is about 180 degrees. Because so when we were serving tea at the coffee shop, the water was no more than 180 degrees, and that's so it would steep the tea for a while, and like you would tell, when you served it, you would say, okay, this is tea. Our coffee was served at about 160. A child's hot chocolate was served at about 140 degrees. That is like drinking temperature. It's like perfect drinking temperature.
Yeah,
it's 140 degrees. Yeah. And it's not going to burn you. You could drink it right away. So FYI, if you're a crazy Starbucks whore like me and want to drink it immediately, you ask them to heat it to 140 degrees. 140, 150, somewhere in there. So you could drink it right away. That being said, do you know? Yes. Yeah. So, do you know how hot that fucking coffee was that poor woman got spilled on herself? 220 degrees.
My clitoris just fell off again.
It did. Of course it did. Because that's fucking ridiculous. So, back to the tub scene.
Yeah.
They do show the temperature. That when dude got out and chick was still in it, it was 120 degrees when he got out, and he was like tapping the fucking like a fucking monkey, like like when people hit the fucking DVD player to get it to work, or the TV,
yeah,
right. That's what our parents hit
the
it
tube television,
right. It would definitely start to burn. You would feel that. 120, you'd be like, oh, fuck. But it's not going to, not skin graft necessary burn.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fucking burn. And when you get in a hot tub, it's like 90 to 110 max. So this was already at 120. It kept going up and going up and going up. And then it got to, you would see, then you saw the temperature gauge went to scalding, and it was in the red.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would a hospital have that capacity?
I know, I was thinking that. I was like, for therapy, you're never going to... Are you going to boil someone?
Like that. That is not therapeutic at all. And so, but I'm like, well, am I just being a fucking dick and not remembering the sign of the times?
You know what I'm going to say on this one? Movie magic!
Yay! I went on way too long about that. Feel free to edit that down because I went on a fucking rant. Okay, so because you were getting to the dream.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll get to there because I only have one more note after the dream.
Okay.
Of the entire movie.
Okay.
So, if you're sick of me talking, listeners, I mean, not you. I love you. Okay. I love you. I said, so Lori's adopted? Her real parents died? What the fuck?
Yeah.
I did not understand. Right.
Yeah.
So this is rant. Okay. And then I said, what the fuck did the doc give Lori? Thorazine? Because she was like, remember when she passed out, but her eyes were open.
Yes.
And the nurse was like getting zero response from the shining the light.
Yeah, and they go to look
and she's like, I think she's having anaphylactic shock. If that were the case, fucking run and get the doctor!
Well, they do, and they find him dead.
But she fucking walks to get the doctor.
Well, yeah.
She's not like, oh my god, code blue!
Well, to be fair, there's no path.
Where's George Clooney with the heart paddle thingies?
Doug. Dr. Doug.
And then I thought, well, was she faking it? Because she
No.
Okay, she wasn't.
No.
Well, definitely wasn't anaphylactic shock, so what the fuck was it? Was it the sedative?
I think it was the sedative. I think so.
Okay.
Because she goes into this waking dream. Like she's like her eyes are open.
Waking
she's dreaming.
life.
And
that's a great movie. Okay, so I said that had all caps better just be a dream and not a flashback. Why would anyone let her see Michael in the hospital? There's no way if she was adopted.
Right, because there's no way that
there's
they would have taken her.
There's no fucking way.
Well, then we also get this flashback of her adopted mother saying, "You're not my child," or "We're not your parents." And I was like, well, she would have known. Like, she was 2. She would have known that they weren't her parents.
It was a flat... Did I totally miss this?
It's part of the dream. It's part of the dream sequence. She's outside. Her mom's hanging laundry.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I must have missed it, and here's why. I told you... Side note, I texted you last night.
Mm-hmm.
I texted Ray last night that I'm dumb and I couldn't get my DVD player to fucking hook up correctly to my TV. To my quote-unquote smart TV.
Oh.
But
I'd come over and fix that for you.
You probably could because I'm fucking dumb. But what I think part of it is because it's an old DVD player, in all honesty. Mm-hmm. And like what connects it to the TV is not an HDMI cable, it's a USB.
Oh, okay.
And I couldn't figure it out. But that and it's also equally possible that the DVD player is just kaputs because it's that fucking old. It
could also be that. Did you get her going to the sanitarium though? Did you see that part? Like in the dream?
That I only saw that where she's like,
okay.
"Don't kill me, Michael. Don't hurt me. I just want to whatever the fuck. See you. Hey."
Oh yeah, because it's in that same. It's
and he looks back with like that shitty fucking look.
Yeah, it's in that scene. It's the same scene. Yeah.
So and I
it could be that you might have had a version that because you watched the DVD.
version I watched.
I watched it on Amazon.
I watched a bootleg copy on YouTube. Shh.
Oh. Let's talk about
where it was like
let's talk about Star Wars for about 30
where
minutes.
It was like video 9 of 10.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was chopped out of it. So
Sure it was YouTube. I'm sure it wasn't Pornhub. Anyhow, so the next scene is very
not sponsored.
Yeah, right. Well, I would totally take that.
I mean,
so get it, take
I'm
it.
fine with it.
So the next scene is the school, right? Where they go to the school.
Yes.
Yeah, which was a deleted scene. It was. It was added in for television, and this solidifies the sibling. So Loomis and the sheriffs are going in. They go to because something has happened at the school. There's been they figure out that Michael Myers has been to the school, so they're going in and.
Okay, go ahead.
No, and they go in and they find blood. But then they also find a picture, a really shitty picture. I mean, but not much better than I can draw, but pretty close.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it says
there's a knife on there.
Yeah, and it says sister.
Yeah.
And then on the chalkboard in blood has been written Sam Hain.
Sam Hain.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about Sam Hain. I know, it sounds like somebody like, hey, well, Sam Hain.
Sam Hain, Sam Hain.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Sam Hain is a pagan religious festival originating from the ancient Celtic spiritual tradition in modern times. Run-on sentence.
Question mark.
Yeah, question mark. Sam Hain, a Gaelic word pronounced Samhain. So, yeah, Samhain. Is usually celebrated from October 31st to November 1st to welcome in the harvest and usher in the dark half of the year. Celebrants believe that the barrier between the physical world and the spirit world break down during Samhain, allowing more interaction between humans and denizens of the underworld. So here's my question. How the fuck did Michael Myers know about Samhain? When did he get to the...
Did they give him books?
Yeah, he gets to the library. He's like, find out about that Samhain. It was Encyclopedia Britannica. He got the S. He got the globe book S. This is all we had for you, Mike. Also, somebody teach him to read?
Somebody taught him to drive, apparently.
Yeah, right.
He had to read signs.
That's true. So this is I don't believe, I don't know why, because I know because John Carpenter he didn't write the third one.
No, I saw in the credits that
it might be inspired by story by but because I was thinking, like, maybe it's a setup to the third one, because that's the third one is all about Samhain.
Oh.
Yeah, these people are making music by,
hold on.
directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. Tommy Lee Wallace is one of the funniest people in that documentary.
Yeah. He cracked me up. It was funny.
Written by Tommy Lee Wallace wrote it too. So, but I would assume maybe maybe because it was added in for TV.
Writers: John Carpenter, Deborah Hill.
Well, I've got it up for 3. It says written by Tommy Lee Wallace.
3.
Yeah.
No, I was looking at 2. Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that had some, because they don't. That's all they talk. That's the only reference it's made to. Right. That's it. So I wonder if it's setting up the third one. And maybe John Carpenter was like, "We're gonna go," because that's what he wanted. He wanted it to be like a each Halloween was a different story, and maybe that's what he was trying to set up. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So then so again, this was added for television. So then we do find out that they are, it's there. We don't find out specifically until a little later, where Loomis is pretty much made to come back to what the fuck was it called, Shady Grove or something like that.
Shady Pines, Ma.
Shady Pines. And
I'm officially drunk. I'm sorry.
It's alright. Hey, and
I mean, I'm not, but this is great.
And they were like, they even brought like a marshal to bring him back.
Oh, right. And he was like, fuck that.
Yeah, I gotta shoot this bitch 7 more times. So, so they're
pew pew.
They're leaving. They're actually like, hey, they're leaving, and
they're OTW on the way.
Yeah, and this doctor's like, FYI, she's a colleague of his.
Yeah, they never said her name. He was just like, "Oh, it's you."
Yeah.
And I was waiting for them to say the name, but I don't think they ever did.
I don't think so.
It's like,
yeah.
Rude.
So, she's like, FYI, Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are siblings, and he's like, the fuck am I just hearing about this
now?
This
file was sealed.
Yeah.
P.S. We're not on the way to correct that. We're just gonna take you right the fuck in.
Yeah.
Because this is a marshal and he's taking you away.
Yeah.
But I just thought you would not want to know.
So, and this is all happening at the same time as Laurie's woken up.
Right.
She's like, oh my god. And at this point, pretty much everybody's dead except for Jimmy. Jimmy's not. Jimmy has slipped in Nurse Alvarez's blood.
Okay.
So here's my question. I wrote it down. How does Michael Myers know how to put an IV in? Because that's what he does, is he puts an IV in her arm and he lets the blood leak out.
Again, first of all, probably not at all. And secondly, whatever books they gave him in the sanitarium. Third,
well, he must have
I must have missed that part because, again, it was a YouTube clip. Anyway, I got the clip notes, basically.
You did. So he must have gotten the World Book S and E for exsanguinate. So, and poor Jimmy's looking around for anybody to fucking help him because he's like, I gotta save this girl because I kind of want to get in her pants when she's like, when everything's kind of calmed down.
There, truly, when he was like when she was all like kind of comatose or whatever, and he was like, oh, I gotta find somebody, and ran off. I don't know what happened to him. And then randomly, like 20 minutes later, he fucking randomly is on the screen. I'm like, where the fuck has he been this whole time?
That's the whole part where he can't. Let me fill it in for you. So he's looking for people, and FYI, they haven't. So the doctor's also dead. So she goes looking for the doctor.
Right.
He's been stabbed in the eye.
Well, he's just an easy target. I mean,
he's an easy lover too. So he's sitting.
Oh!
I don't know. It's like that song. He's sitting with the knife in his eye, and then I'm trying to get. Oh, so then Jimmy's like, so it's pretty much you and me there, Chicky, and this other nurse who's not dead, and so he's like, I need you to leave. Or I need you to find.
Oh, right. To go take your car, drive away, and find somebody.
Bring them here.
And then she goes to the parking lot and sees that all the tires have been slashed and ain't nobody going.
Yeah, and so she comes back in.
Yeah.
And she sees Laurie, and Laurie's coming towards her.
Yeah.
And Mike Myers, one of the other awesome kills in this movie, takes a scalpel and does pretty much what he does to Brad.
Right.
And he lifts her up by the scalpel, and her
That's
shoes fall off. I was like, that's
crazy.
kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
Her nursing shoes fall to the ground. But it is it's supposed to mirror that death. But
wowza.
So at the same time, Jimmy's looking for anybody because poor Jimmy's like cock blocked and he just wants to get it. And so he's like, I gotta get this girl well. And so he's running. He finds Dr. Mrs. They keep calling her Mrs. I'm like, she's a nurse. We can call her.
Right, but she's like their head.
Yeah.
You know.
And she has been exsanguinated. And there's blood. The reddest Caro syrup looking fucking blood I've ever seen. It's like bright red. Like candy apple red almost. All over the floor.
Like,
he's so stupid. He flips in
George Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Paint almost. Yeah. He slips in it, goes back, hits his head, passes out. So that's where he was been for the last 20 minutes. So
I saw that, but it was lit. Yeah.
So they get in. So how does Laurie get it in the parking lot? Oh, he gets her, and they're going to take the car and they're going to leave because Michael Myers is now stalking her through the hospital, and she does not know that they're siblings.
No.
And they get into the car, And
she and Jimmy hides in the car, right?
Yeah, but Jimmy takes her to the car because Jimmy passes out at the car. Jimmy passes out with his head on the steering wheel. God. And so then she's trying to walk, like her legs won't work because she's been given a sedative. So
Thorazine, maybe that affects the central nervous system.
Possibly. So maybe they felt really close to one another then. Well, her and Michael. Shared experiences. So she's clawing her way back to the hospital because at this point Loomis and the marshal and the other doctor have showed up. Yeah. And she's screaming, "Someone help me!"
But she's not scream. She can't even scream. Yeah. She's so weak. Oh, that broke my heart. Yeah. Honest to God, like for real, not even joking. Like I would, it's like it reminded me of the moment in the first Scream movie in the very beginning when Drew Barrymore is like she's already been hurt and she's like she sees her parents and it's like there's the answer, there's somebody that's gonna she can't. Yeah. She's like she can't. Oh, that is so
it's scary,
gut wrenching.
It's like
so awful.
It's like that the whole that fear of when you go under for surgery and you somehow feel everything and you can't. There's a fear of that. There's a horrible movie with Christian what's his name? Anakin Skywalker. What's his Christian Haydenson?
Ugh.
Wow, that is a reaction. Hayden Christensen, that's his name. I love Star Wars. I hate those fucking movies. I hate those the prequels are the worst.
My fucking pointer finger is a better actor than Christian Haydenson. I'm just gonna say that for the record.
Hayden Christensen.
Whatever. I'm drunk.
Little Italy. Let me just say. Little Italy. Lily.
Anyway.
But let's get through this.
Okay, no. But hold on. So you said when people go under for surgery. P.S. I had my first colonoscopy. Yay. That's right. That's my segue, bitch. So I had my first colonoscopy weeks ago, and apparently they gave me propofol. They put me under for it, and they gave me fucking propofol. Yeah. And I was like, ooh, but. Apparently, I said, have fun in my ass before I passed out. Now, and I signed the waiver agreeing to have medical students in there, right, to observe the doctor. Oh, Jesus. They loved me. They treated me so well.
I'm sure. I've had a couple, and nor did I didn't wish them well on their journey. Let's just say that. I was
1,000 leagues under this.
I was more like, get this fucking thing over with. I want to eat some food that's not going to go through me. Thank you very much. Anyway. I like that segue. I liked it very much. So let's just end this bitch because we're so close to it.
We are.
We're so close. So pretty much what happens.
I like to tease.
Anyway. We do. Just a tip. Yep. What pretty much happens is Loomis shoots Michael, and of course he fucking doesn't die because he's Michael Myers.
Right.
But what ends up happening is Loomis pretty much blows up.
Right. They go to the room and they're fucking pulling everything, the ether, the oxygen, and whatever the fuck,
because they're gonna blow this fucker up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Loomis blows himself up with Michael Myers, which is interesting because
doesn't Donald Pleasence he comes back later, doesn't he?
Yeah, Donald Pleasence is like 4 more movies. So
I don't. What?
Magic. Movie magic.
It's not just so much. It's movie magic. It's fucking
continuity errors.
Yes, and it's. I mean that. Yes. Go ahead. Anyway, let's end it.
I want to kind of wrap it up with. Right. Oh yeah, Dana Carvey was Barry McNichol. That's his name in here.
Barry.
I did write it down.
Good for you, Dana.
So I want to talk about how
Carvey.
we built up this final girl awesome in the first one, and it's kind of like, it's kind of a letdown in the second one because there is no gung ho. Here's this woman. It's now you've taken away the random stranger killer, because you've made them siblings,
connected somehow, but still unbeknownst and still surviving mystery among it.
Agreed.
Because she still doesn't understand.
Right, but you've taken now it's like then you've also by doing that, have you ruined or lessened or cheapened the final girl?
In what way?
Because it's not because, and part of me doesn't like the final girl just for the fact is, that means like sex is bad and drugs are bad and alcohol is bad. And they're not. So part of me hates the final girl and part of me loves the final girl.
Same. Yeah.
So
I have issues
the
on
part
both
of me
sides.
that loves the final girl is pissed off because what you're saying is she really isn't the final girl. The reason that she is being targeted is because she's his sister.
But technically, is his finale target. Like, but, no matter how many bodies he has to get through to get her.
Right, but at the same time, like, he could have just gone to her first.
He had. Well,
if that's the case, you set it up for her to be.
I see what you're saying. Because in the first, he went. He could have just gone to that house first, where she was.
Right.
He knew where she was.
Right.
Why did he go to them?
He must have learned how to go into the Hall of Records too. Figured out who what her new name is now, where she lives now. Man, this cat is all over the place.
And this was pre-internet, folks.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty savvy.
Yeah, I know.
What's your fucking excuse?
He was quiet for 15 years just thinking.
That's the other thing I want to call bullshit on.
What's that?
He was silent for 15. Fuck you. There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
How do you know what his instincts and feelings and thoughts are?
There's plenty of people who I mean, that's in their response to trauma is shut down completely and they do not make a sound.
Sure. But calling him pure evil then.
Oh, well, I mean, I think it was the murder.
Well, it was mostly that.
It was probably the murder. The murder might have.
But how many? I mean, look, I'll be honest. Okay.
This is the time also when you did have, I mean, I joke and said it was President Reagan, but really it kind of was because what happened was we had a destabilization of the mental health system because they were underfunded,
right,
understaffed. And that's what happened. Is like because they weren't supported by government funds that they should have been.
Right. This was around the time, right, when
exactly.
when all those mental state hospitals were shutting down.
Exactly.
And they were starting to throw these people in jail.
Not even jail. They just open the doors and let these people out.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately, there's
like if you look at American Horror Story Asylum.
Well, I mean, there's a really good documentary called Cropsy, and it's about like all these underground, pretty much. Part of the story is about all these underground like communities of homeless people that's what happened. They opened the doors. They had nowhere for these people to go.
Right.
And so, and some of these people, this was keeping them safe.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, part of me, maybe it's an indictment of the mental health system too. And maybe it's saying like, this kid was here for 15 years and like you said, he didn't talk. Did no one even try to do any therapy on him to figure out why the fuck he wasn't talking?
Right.
I mean, it was where he needed to be. Because, I mean, obviously, a 6-year-old kid shouldn't go to jail. And honestly, like, I don't know. It's maybe it's a stinging indictment of the mental health institution at the time. But at the time, it was what everyone feared. It was what everyone feared. Like, they should just go to jail. It's like, no, he was where he needed to be.
Right.
And unfortunately, it was probably, again, no one looked in to see what was the 6-year-old doing with, like, the drive to kill someone.
Right.
Like, let's study that a little bit. Let's figure that out.
More than that, his sister.
Right. It's not just Samhain. Someone butt him in the ass. Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot to be said for this movie. It's just interesting because I know 3. I know where this is going. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
Actually, it's really good that we did 1 and 2 because it is that unit. It's a unit of the story. Because 3 goes.
And everybody, from what I understand, and every single person. This is part of what interested me about talking to you about this. Watching the entire series, every single movie, and also talking about it because I have only seen 1 and 2, and there have been this apart from any other franchise has been whatever the fucked
more than any other, I would dare say, including Nightmare on Elm Street, arguably.
Yeah.
Because, like, so one of the things that I sent Ray recently was like, somebody made this cool, from an article I read, somebody made this cool little map of like how you connect the stories through the series. Mm-hmm. Like, 1 relates to this and this later on, mm-hmm. and 2 relates to this and this later on. 3, obviously, as everyone is completely separate from the map, because it's whatever the fuck.
And honestly, I think if they had
I'm considering, do we even bother doing it?
3?
Yeah.
I would say watch it.
I'm morbidly curious.
I like it a lot, actually.
Do you really?
I really do. I like it a lot.
I'm sort of curious just for funsies, but like,
there's some horrific child death in it.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, horrific, but it's kind of awesome. Because these kids put these masks on and like fucking snakes come out of them and like bugs and shit. Yeah, it's pretty
That's
gnarly.
Cool.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty gnarly. You will, by the end of it, want to light yourself on fire for hearing 5 more days to Halloween, Halloween, Halloween.
Oh, there was some fucking commercial, right?
Yes, it's for the Silver Shamrock. Yeah, yeah. It's all about masks and Samhain. Yeah, and
as I roll my eyes.
Yeah, and this little Irish man whose accent comes and goes like the wind.
Oh, sure, like a fart in the wind.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, hard, and then next one's like, hello, would you like to come into my store? Oh.
Yuck.
Yeah, no, it's and it's got fucking what's his name in it? God, oh shit, what's his name? Tom Atkins, fucking big old mustachioed Tom Atkins.
What?
Yeah, thrill me.
Oh,
yeah,
my.
Thrill me, Tom Atkins.
Thrill me.
Yeah, that's from oh shit, not Night of the Comet. What is it? Oh shit.
No.
Night of the Creeps. He plays a police. He plays a police. He should be playing a police officer in 3. He plays a drunk doctor instead.
I was thinking of the hit musical, oozing with sarcasm, Thrill Me.
Oh, I don't know that.
Which is.
Is it about you too?
No. This was a side. This is a side to side. My gay husband, my gay husband, who's like my best gay friend, he and I just have an unspoken rule that we always see shows together. Mm-hmm. Even especially shows neither of us want to see, but like we just fucking make ourselves go. So a friend of his was in a local production years ago of Thrill Me, the Leopold and Leopold and Loeb musical. Let's
go kill a boy together.
Yes!
Jesus Christ!
Not kidding. Okay, listeners,
material that's not kosher for a fucking musical.
Are you right? Okay.
Child death.
Okay, for anybody that doesn't know,
here's the mask when he's spewing snakes.
here's some fucking history for y'all. Leopold, for anybody that doesn't know or doesn't have access to Google, how dare you?
Yeah, right.
I'm sure you
Google it for you.
Look up Leopold and Loeb, Loeb. Leopold and Loeb was about. It's a true story, basically about in the early aughts, or I think 1910s, I want to say.
20, yeah.
10s or 20s. About these fucking Harvard yucks.
Yeah,
Harvard yucks who were, quote unquote, bored and thought, wouldn't it be cool to watch somebody be murdered? And they murdered children.
Just one. It was one boy, but still, yeah.
Still. They just wanted to do it. Just
for
the
do
fuck.
It. Just for
this
fun,
was, and so
funsies.
for the thrill of it.
Jesus Christ.
The musical is called Thrill Me.
Fuck me. Holy
so
shit.
Bad.
When you're writing that, you gotta be like, who's gonna come see this? Right? Like, is someone gonna ask me, did no one stop in the process and go, hold on?
I dare say I've always wanted to start some kind of search hub or search engine of, you know the Rule 34?
Yeah,
right?
There's always
if it
something.
exists.
Well, that's actually about porn on
porn, right? If it exists, there's a porn about it. I dare say, if it exists, there's a musical.
Oh, that's going to talk about like child death. I was like, oh Jesus Christ!
No.
Oh God! No.
Oh God, no! Ew! No, I'm not that fucked up. Jesus Christ!
No, not at you, but it's like I bet you there's like I'm like don't start finish that.
I mean, let's not. But
there's weirdos out there. It's all on 4chan.
I mean, great, great.
QAnon. Anyhow,
no judgments.
No, there's judgment when it comes to QAnon. You get the fuck out. I don't care. You want? You don't
I
like
agree with you.
We're okay with not having you as listeners if you like.
I mean,
QAnon.
it's fine. I've settled on it.
Want a QAnon? You gonna jump on the Q train?
Oh God, no. No, I mean, I've settled on them not being listeners. Fuck.
Oh yeah, no. You can just keep that, put it up your butt, and smoke it. I don't know. Right. That's not where you go. Anyhow. So that is Halloween 1 and 2.
Yay! Sorry, I know I talk too much, but I fucking love it.
You're fine.
This is P.S. This is how Ray and I are together all the time. Like we just talk.
Yes.
And we could talk for fucking hours.
Was that? Yeah.
We just thought we'd open it up to the world and invite you to our home.
Yeah.
And invite you to listen
to our dulcet tones. And I have to say, Ween, you have the sex phone operator voice that my other podcast
totally do.
Host
in fact,
Veronica has.
I believe once upon a time
works as a sex phone operator.
Thought about it.
Oh, I mean, we all have.
I mean, who hasn't, right? But the problem was, at the time, I would have had to have gotten a landline, and I was like, what?
Also,
that.
If that is still a profession, I would...
It is, and I believe it's called telephone actress.
Well, no, I think it's called ASMR.
Oh, yeah. No, I would totally do that. Honest to God.
I fucking hate ASMR.
Listeners, let me know. If it... I'm just kidding.
You're propositioning our audience.
No, our two-person audience. That's fine.
So, would you recommend...
Oh, right. We our rating system, right?
Yeah, so blood and gore in the first one, Halloween 1, very little blood and gore.
Very little, but...
So droplets of blood, 1. One
just a little sprinkle here and there for the necessaries.
Yeah, no
like
arterial spray.
Like the sternum, sternum shot for the poor boy. No, but I appreciate, again, it's kind of a nod to Hitchcock where, the only blood that was really involved was the, chocolate syrup they used to wash down the drain in the first, few minutes in Psycho. Yeah. You didn't need to, and kind of I don't know, I'm more titillated by psychological thrillers than anything else, and more equally freaked out by it. However, that being said, I do, hence this podcast, really enjoy a good gory whatever the fuck
100%.
Once in a while. Because I don't know why. And we were talking about anyway, so yes, as far as blood and gore, I would chalk violence, pure violence, up to the same category, and I would give it about 2 little butcher knives.
Okay. I'm gonna say probably for 1. I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna agree 2.
Yeah.
So we're taking 2 out of 5. Out of 5.
Yeah.
So then we're gonna go with fun. Did you have fun? How many?
My cold black heart.
Oh, your cold black heart. How many little hearts are you gonna give it?
4. I had a grand old time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, but I had a grand old time.
We're talking about 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have 2 because we had to do 2.
Yeah.
2 also. I am gonna go and say 5 just because I had such a fucking blast. I do. I mean, I love it. I put it. I'll
go to 5. Fuck
yeah. I mean, I put it on a lot to just leave it on in the background.
Right, and it's my sister's favorite horror film / villain because there's so much mystery around him.
I would also like to talk about the time that. Wait, let's do the ratings in the second one, and I want to tell a little tiny anecdote.
Here we go.
Okay, so number 2, gore, blood. We upped the ante in this one. It was definitely...
Yeah, we did. I'll give it another 3. I'll give it a 3 butcher knives because there's definitely
blood first, blood and gore first.
Yeah, blood and gore. I'm still gonna stick with 3. It was
3 blood droplets. 3 drops of blood. Okay.
Well,
and then violence.
It was definitely bloodier, but I feel like it was
2
for the sake of being bloodier.
Yeah, I mean, because there's. Yeah, because at one point there's blood all over the floor.
Right.
So gore
so much
stuff,
so that Jimmy slips on it.
Yeah,
and secondly, they added more blood to poor Lori, in the beginning than there was at the end of the first.
Yeah. So I'm we can say 2 on that one for violence and though I'm gonna say 3 also.
Yeah.
Fun, 3.5. I was okay. Like it's not my favorite, but it's better than fucking Rob Zombies. Jesus.
Which I hear so much about, and I am so excited to watch. I'm excited to finally fucking watch all of these fucking movies.
Yeah, it's been great.
I have never seen all of these, and I'm super stoked.
Yeah. So my little anecdote is,
yes.
I used to have these big Halloween parties.
Bitch, I was wondering if you were gonna bring this up.
I am.
God dang it.
So I have friends, one in particular who he loves fucking Michael Myers.
Oh, he fucking does.
He's tall.
Unbeknownst to me at the time.
Yeah, he's tall and
he's 6'3", in fact.
Yeah, he's got the same build and everything, and he's got the complete outfit. And so I had one of my giant.
And we're all theater friends, right?
Yeah.
So we know how to fucking act.
Yeah. So I'm sitting in the kitchen and this party, and my other co-host is in the kitchen also. P.S.
If anybody does listen to the Chicklet Book Club podcast, poor Veronica, I still to this day feel bad.
But so he had arrived because he's married. His wife had arrived with their friends to the party, and I was like, "Where's so and so?" And they're like, "Oh, he couldn't come tonight." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of a bummer because he's just a funny, nice guy." So I look over. I'm on the other side of like the kitchen, and it was like all open space floor plan. He comes out from the bedrooms, quiet as
half an hour later.
Yeah,
at least
he was sitting in my mom and dad's bedroom,
unbeknownst to everyone but his wife.
Yeah, I mean, and so yeah, he had come out of their bedroom, quiet as shit, just lumbered. And he just comes out. He comes right behind Ween. And I swear, if you had, I was like, she could have pissed her pants. Like, I thought you pissed her pants.
On my brother's grave.
And you took Veronica was down with you.
I bowled Veronica over. Like, screamed, and this was all instinct. I had almost zero power over this. I saw him slowly doing that slow walk, right?
Yeah.
Toward us.
It was creepy. Watching from the other side, I was
screamed bloody murder, dash behind in slow mode, right?
Dash behind literally the best.
Bowled Veronica over and ran halfway across the room before my mind caught up with my body.
It was like, oh, that's so and so. Fuck you. It was the best. It was so funny. Oh my god.
Poor Veronica. I'm sorry if you ever. I'm still sorry about that.
It was so
this
funny.
was also the same night where I got hammered and attempted a cartwheel for the first time in like 10 years.
When my friend Scott goes, that wasn't a cartwheel. I was like, no, but we're gonna give it to her.
I nearly my head open on the cement.
Oh my god! Because I used to also with these Halloween parties do stupid fucking drunk games like. Just stupid shit, and they make
we were beer ponging it for a while.
Oh, we were drinking, just general. I mean, I wasn't going anywhere, but because it was my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, that makes me laugh. I think about it every so often, and
I do too. Honestly, I do.
Yeah.
Whenever I see Halloween, I think about that moment and how funny and embarrassing it was.
There you go.
There we go.
To our first episode.
Huzzah!
Well, actually, you know what we should do is. Then do 4, 5, and 6 because that's the Thorn trilogy. So we should do that together.
You mentioned that before. Who's Thorn? I don't understand.
It's a cult that bring him back. Yeah. So why don't we do this? We won't do 3 because three movies is going to be a lot for us. So we'll just do.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
At some point, we'll do a movie minute where you tell me all about 3.
We're like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is that? Yeah. Okay, fine.
All right.
Cheers, my friend, and to you listeners.
Yeah. Until next time, this is the Booze, Boobs, and Blood podcast. Signing off.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Słońce, the toast of our people.